Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready? This is going to be the day of all days. It is day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. It's a special day. It's the NODWIN Gaming African Showdown. We're playing Apex Legends. My name is Dr. Sid, and I'm super excited. As you can see, too much energy is flowing up in my body because Africa is on the map. The Africans are doing it. Africans are putting the gaming where it's supposed to be. But I'm not here alone because I never do this alone. I'm here with two amazing people. You already know Camille because Camille was here with us last week. But I'm here with the amazing Dano Plays. What's up, guys?
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's good to be here. Let's get it going.
Oh, Dr. Sid, your energy is always on fire, man. I'm ready for the broadcast now. Hyped up.
I'm, you can see I've got like hair standing in funny places. That's how much energy that I'm feeling. So, I mean, we're going to take a look at some stuff. We're going to take a look at what's happening today. This is the schedule for today and the Apex Legends African Throwdown. We're going to be starting at about 7 p.m., which is like now. And the first match is going to take place in Kings Canyon. This is obviously for the Group B players. Match 2 comes up around 7:45, but that depends. As you can see, the asterisk just tells us that that's the approximate time. It depends on when the game before that finishes. Like we did last time, we're going to be alternating between Kings Canyon and Olympus maps to give the players an opportunity.
We're also going to have to take a look at what happened in the previous week's year, or the previous broadcast day, of the African Throwdown by NODWIN Gaming, which was quite an epic show. Mr. Tendo, did you get eyes on it as well?
Yeah, I was actually
for this event. Oh, sorry.
I was actually tuning in last weekend. Here in my setup, just watching, and yeah, it was actually a great showing. Really astounded, with how everything went down. And honestly, I must say the production of the entire, African Throwdown has been absolutely phenomenal. I've been loving it. But here's our prize pool. We got the champion spot with $400, second place $300, third place $200, and then we got that fourth place with $100. So you know what, your efforts will be paid off towards that end. And those teams that are going to give us their all are really going to come out on top.
100%. Yeah, we saw your team, Tendo, your friendly team DMNK put on quite a showing in Group A. They won 4 out of 4 maps that we saw. Was a dominant performance by them, and they looking like they want that first place trophy, that $400 of the prize pool.
Yeah, they definitely gave a good performance. But there's still a lot of other teams out there that we have to look out for. I mean, today's group, we've got the likes of ATK, which I'm really excited to see what they got for ourselves. But here's the points for today's, throwdown. We got first place coming in with a whopping 20 points. So, if you could get to survive all the way to the end over there, you're going to get your 20 points. Then going down, it's 14 points for second place, third place, 10 points, fourth place, 8 points. And it goes all the way down to 11th to 20th, where you're going to get 1 point. And the key factor that everybody needs to look out there is for kill points. And I know last week DNMK ran away with those kill points, right, Camille?
They did indeed. And the second place team as well, Blind Peakers, played in a similar fashion. I don't think from the way I perceived them playing, they didn't control zone and that such well, but the way anytime they saw a team, they're like, we're going to rush you, we're going to kill you. Scare played like an absolute beast there. So I'm curious to see how teams here in Group B are going to play today, how aggressive they're going to play. Are they going to play for placements? All those things should make for an exciting show. Dr. Sid, are you back?
I can't. I'm back. I went to Nigerian internet to talk to them and say, look, we are doing something big for Africa. You cannot be disturbing my internet at this particular point in time. But you know what it is? What is an African tournament? Had a few disconnections to remind us that we're on the African continent. Anyways, we're still back. It is still the Apex Legends African Throwdown. And today we have some amazing teams. But let's take a look at the standings right now for Group B. We have some new teams. I mean, Tendo, I'm sure you're familiar with some of these guys. Could you take us through what we need to be watching out for?
Yeah, there's quite a few teams here that have been competing in the local scrims a couple of times. I mean, I've already highlighted 80K. We gotta look out for 80K. I mean, they ALGS championship, finalists right now. They're gonna be playing for, I mean, a share of $1 million very soon. So they're gonna be big on the scene. Underrated ZA, really good team as well. They consist of a team of a Fortune. Those guys made it all the way to Masters. So they've been grinding Apex. They've been doing their best. OGC ZA recently signed an organization competing in GLL tournaments. They play a couple of Community Cup games. They're trying to improve their skill, and I'm sure this is where they want to show themselves that, hey, we're a force to be reckoned with. Watch out for us. Revert Caustic, a very interesting team that I'm going to be looking at in particular. It's a bit of a content creation team, but I mean, the players on that team are pretty cracked. The likes of Daddy Cool, Cinder Live, and none other than the Caramel Gamer. So there's a couple of few teams here that are going to be, shaking up the lobby a little bit. Innovated Crimson, also watch out for them. They're big scrimmers, and you know what? We'll see what who's going to come up on top today.
One of the names that strikes me there is the EgoHitters. That just sounds like a team that's going to hit everybody's ego and destroy it. But let's take a look at the overall standings for the tournament right now, looking after the points that were taken by DNNK and the teams from Group A after day one. So as we can see, it's a tough field. Camille, what do you have to say about the overall standings?
I mean, as everybody saw on the first broadcast, DMNK ran away with the show. They got maximum placement points and 80 kill points, which is insane. It is insane, but it's something we expected from them. I think both DNMK and ATK are professional level teams in the Apex Legends world. They compete in ALGS and stuff as well. I think Blind Peakers put on a very good performance, and the 3-5 was very competitive for the standings to in the first group. I think there were so many teams that could have got that podium finish at the third place. Darkest Night did end up doing it, so congrats to them. And yeah, I think there was a lot of good teams and a lot of good showings from the first group, but I'm curious to see what happens now in this next group in today's matchups.
So what is definitely obvious is that whatever you saw on day one is just the tip of the beginning and the tip of the iceberg. And day two, with the teams coming in, and as Stendo has pointed out, we have a lot of professional teams in the pool right now. That standing that you just saw could be totally switched up and totally destroyed by the end of the day. So I think right now we just have to go and take a look at where the players will be playing while Dr. Sid disappears and leaves you in the amazing hands of these two talented guys, Pendo and Camille.
Thank you, Dr. Sid. We are heading into our first matchup here for group number B, our first game of the day. Tendo, my man, are you excited for this, sir?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited for this first matchup. We're starting things on Kings Canyon, if I'm not mistaken. And, Kings Canyon is one of those maps that is a little bit, shaky in the competitive scene. Not too many players like it that much. There's just, too many third parties in the situations that you find yourself getting into. There's a couple of awkward rotations you might find yourself in, and there's a lot of new places they added in this new map of Kings Canyon, this re-edition. There's lots of Crash Site, Spotted Lake. There's a lot of cool new areas, so we'll just have to see if we get any zones that pull that direction, because often you'll find that on Kings Canyon, zones don't normally pull towards that north side of the map. A lot of Kings Canyon zones pull towards more the south side. So we get a lot of open-ended endings. So we'll see how things go.
100%. I really like that we added Olympus to the pool. Obviously, I'm from the neutral point of view, a caster, just a spectator's point of view. But I know a lot of the top players are they feel like they're being used as beta testers, trying out the new map in this thing. But I think, for the African teams and South African teams competing, this might give them a head start when Olympus eventually gets introduced into the competitive pool. They would have had some competitive experience on that map. What do you think about the introduction of that map coming into this African Throwdown event, Tendo?
Olympus has got that same problem that Kings Canyon has. Too many third parties, and the point of interest are just a little bit too close to each other. So often teams are able to spot out some fights from, a mile away, when it almost seems like they shouldn't be hearing these fights, and they'll be able to rotate really quick. And it just causes for a lot of fights. And often on Olympus, you find there's a lot of chokeholds. Hammond Labs comes to my mind, Estate comes to my mind as well. That middle section of the map really sucks in a lot of players, and that's what often often you find in a lot of matches, especially in pub matches, you'll find that everybody for some reason is able to swarm to that area just because of how, you know, the map is situated with all the rotations. So not too many pro players enjoy Olympus for that reason,
Right.
that it's a little bit difficult to just get your grounding, and you have all these, you know, jagged edges as well, the way the map is built with high ground and low ground. So there's just so much disparity on the map that it makes it a little bit difficult.
Yeah, I think from like a pub player's perspective, you know, a casual, again, like me, I don't mind Olympus. It's like this new map. It's a bit smaller, kind of pretty. Lots of fighting all the time is exciting. But for the competitive play, you don't really want to be taking all these weird and awkward engagements where you have a chance to get third-partied or even fourth-partied for all we know. You want a more stable setup. So I understand the frustration from the pro players. There's always that disconnect from like the casual and like the expert levels of what people want in these maps. But I think inevitably, EA is going to go towards Olympus as a competitive map. I would like to think. So I guess sooner or later people have to wake up to it, you know, even if they don't like it, unfortunately.
Yeah, very true. You know what Respawn does well is they always revamping and shifting and changing, and that's what keeps Apex interesting. They're never keeping it at a constant state. You know, metas are shifting. So I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe in a Season 9 update that they've completely reworked Olympus, opened up the map a little bit more, taken away some of these choke points that are really holding the players in, and, you know, make it a little bit more competitive and make it a little bit more friendly for people to, you know, get that home the same that we feel like on the World's Edge. You know, everybody loves World's Edge in terms of competitive gameplay, just because of how well the map is built. So as soon as, you know, Respawn can work things around to get it, you know, on that same level, I think it'll be a pretty interesting. But Camille, it looks like we're starting things up, and I'm pretty excited. And we're gonna tune in right now to none other than Revert, a Caustic, Caramel, a Gamer, a Cinder Live, and a Daddy Cool. Camille, tell me, how much do you know about this team? Like, you know, what kind of background do you know about them?
Listen, I'm a big Caramel Gamer fan, you know, one of the funniest streamers in ZA. Obviously, he's also in UK right now. He is streaming this event as well. So if you guys are big fans of Caramel, shout out to you guys there on the stream. But they're looking like they're in a good position right now. Caramel found himself purple armor just from the get-go. And I know Cinder is a big figure in the Apex Legends community in South Africa. Also cast a lot of games with you and such. So you're quite close with this entire team, aren't you, Mr. Tindo?
Yeah, honestly, I'd be rooting for them right now. They're my boys at this point. So it'll be good to see them do well today. But we're tuning in to Underrated ZA, a team that I did say we need to look out for, who have found themselves landing here at Artillery. Artillery has been opened up pretty well, actually, recently in the update, Camille. I'm sure you've seen. They've kind of blown the backside a little bit. That's where it leads into Spotted Lake, if I'm not mistaken. No, Crash Side, sorry. And there's now this whole open area where people are able to play. So I'm excited to see if we're going to get a couple of zones that pull that way. And look at that perfect timing as the map pulls up for us. There's that zone. It's going to be a little bit of a tough one. There's a lot of high ground, low ground. There's a couple of chokes there. You can see the mountain. So a lot of the teams that are at the north side of the map are going to really need to rush over to find themselves a good spot to play this end game. And so far, so good in terms of, you know, contesting. Nothing too shaky. No one's really fighting each other just yet.
So I know you caught some of the past broadcasts we did. It seems like a lot of the teams gravitated to the Wraith, Bloodhound, and of course Gibraltar lineup. A very balanced lineup there. What do you think? Do you think that's kind of the same sort of lineups we'll see today in these matches, or is there other heroes you want to see picked up, or legends rather picked up throughout this 4 matches we're going to see today?
Well, you know, it just depends on how these players like to play. You typically with ZA player scrims and just like ZA competitive in general, it's usually a very kill heavy like playstyle and meta. So players usually tend to pick those, you know, kill heavy legends that will get them into positions where they'll capitalize on getting kill points. So obviously Gibraltar's big one there, Bloodhound, and you see right here is a good example. They're playing Octane right now, 80k. They want that speed, they want that momentum, they want to get into people's faces. This team just screams, look, we're gonna spot you out, we're gonna fight you, we're not afraid. And I think that's what we're gonna see a lot of today. A lot of, you know, Bloodhounds, Gibraltars, Wraiths as always. They're a big pick up, but I don't think people are gonna experiment a little too much.
Might be something good this way.
That's fair, that's fair. Octane, always an exciting hero to see. Oh, sorry, legend to see rather. With this jump pad, gives his team so much mobility within the right situation. We see there could be a fight breaking out here. Fractus Gaming got a couple of decent hit shots there. R31 getting put to use. They're throwing out the grenade. They look like they want to rush. They want to make some kills happen. Bangalore running forward. No ultimate available just yet, but they did an insane amount of damage there, so they could punish this team. And even more damage coming out here from Mr. GZ FPS.
Yeah, this is the team of Fractus Gaming, a team I did say to look out for, and you can just see that by the aggression. They're not afraid. They're not afraid of anybody at all. And GZ, some wonderful R301 shots. R301, honestly, probably one of the best guns in the game right now. It's so versatile in all ranges: medium, close range, long range. It's got you covered in most situations, and I think it's just settled in right now with the Apex meta, especially after the big Mastiff nerf, where you can't 100 pump anybody anymore. You have to hit them for 88 damage, and it's really settled in well, and Fractus is just going to chase down these kills because they need to get these kill points in, and they're moving towards the zone, so this is a really good fight for them to take, and JJ just going to boost ahead using that flat line, going to get that kill, and they knock down K.
Yeah, they got such dangerous guns for the close range as well. We see them have the R99. Look at him just shred through one. Dead already. Now they're looking for the rest of the team. Bloodhound going to scan here. Oh, they scanned themselves. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, they're going to just bunk up in this building for just a tiny little bit as we tune into MaFisi, who are just gathering a little bit of loot back to Fractus Gaming, who are just scouting out this canyon area just outside Bunker. And Bunker, one of those places where if you find yourself stuck in, Camille, with a Caustic especially, you just wish you didn't even make that rotation, am I right?
I was going to say the same thing. I see a Caustic picked up by one of those teams, and I'm super happy to see that if they can survive, if they can get to the end game. Like you say, once you have that buildings in the bunker areas, in many areas, you can just queue off all the doors. You never want to push into those Caustic teams. So great stuff from them. And we look at the 80k Arena team. They got full armor and stuff already, and they look like they're going to take a fight. Up the Beast of the Hunt on the Bloodhound already. And decent amount of damage there. Shielding up here on the Swatika.
Yeah, so the team's playing a little bit of aggression, but not too much. They don't want to give too much away as it stands. They're in a pretty good spot in the zone, considering it's going to be pulling towards them. So right now, 80k is really just trying to poke and prod and see where everybody's kind of positioned in the zone. As you can see, Chambi is just rotating. And Chambi, honestly, one of the best exports, I think, in Africa in terms of Apex Legends. He's just absolutely insane. If you ever tune into one of his streams, he'll be beaming everybody in Predator lobbies, and you'll just think to yourself, damn, if he can do it, I can do it. Until you load up to a game and you can't do it. But, it's lovely to see 80k competing competitively in South Africa. And we're tuning into 69 Gaming. We've popped that Rev Q, Ultimate, and we'll see what they're trying to fish in here. If there's a fight, they're trying to get involved.
So this is one of the dirty combos I've seen where you have this Revenant plus Octane, where you put down the totem, and then obviously the jump pad gives you so much mobility. So it's like gives you complete safety to just jump in and try fight. Because if you die, you just go back to the totem and in a completely safe place. Looks like that's what they want. That's what they're going to try do here. The launch pad is there. Are they going to jump? Oh, lots of damage coming out there, but not going to be willing to fully commit just yet.
Yeah, Rev Octane has been a recent meta that's actually just popped out, Camille. It's I must say, in terms of all the metas that have popped up into Apex Legends, it's probably one of the hardest to go up against, because the moment you see, 3 characters jumping in at you, looking like hell itself, you just, stop for a moment and have to just think to yourself, is this really what I chose to do with my time? But you know what? We've got over here 69 holding things off. The Rev pushed didn't quite work, but Omaki is doing pretty well here to hold off the team, throwing a couple of nades. It's going to back them off just a tiny little bit, give time for the team to recover and reset. They got to clean this fight up just a little bit. They're in a bit of a congested area. We know there's a lot of teams in this area so far, so if they don't clean up this fight fast enough, it's not going to be good for them. But luckily, right here, there goes to one knock. Got to be careful, turn around the corner. Ooh, gets knocked just
he got
around the
brought
corner.
down there.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That's so unfortunate. He held the line for so long there, but now he's starting to get punished, and now the rest of the team look like they could just fall now as well. Everybody gets knocked out. They are eliminated the first map. And as we see in the kills on the kill leaderboard there, 80k is just cleaning up kills left, right, and center across the map. Definitely going to be our kill leaders for the first match at least. Kind of expected, but still great to see.
Yeah, 80k just coming in there, showing the expertise and cleaning them up nice and quickly. We tune back to Fractus, we're still in the same position. They're holding edge of zone right now. Not really looking for too many fights, but they should try look to level up the Evo shields. That Evo Shield update that happened quite a long time ago. One of the best updates, I think, that come to Apex Camille. It just allows for players that, you know, output a lot of damage in games who maybe aren't finding the kills and finding the opportunities, you know, to get those level up armors. A way to level up their armors. And oh my goodness, I'm not sure if one of the players got stuck there since the map is up, but it seems like they were able to clean that up. And that was a little bit dicey. And it's unfortunate to see that ATK has just taken down Unrated, who I thought was going to be ATK's rival, but it looks like it's a 1-0 to ATK right now. I think they just called off their rotation.
I was going to say the same thing. They just got caught in a bad position because, you know, in a straight up 50-50 fight, it could have been in a better situation. But if you're fighting with odds stacked against you against ATK Arena, it's never going to end well. So unfortunate for them. And that Evo Shield thing you're talking about, one of the best inventions in games all time. Honestly, Apex Legends is like, they're so innovative in the way they do the game. Even the fact, like the respawn beacon thing, every game has that now. All the BRs have that. But they were the first guys to do it, right? So they're really paving the way for the Battle Royale genre in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they definitely are. And I mean, look, they've added heat shields as well, which allow you to, you know, camp a little bit of zone damage. And oftentimes those things are very, very clutch. Maybe we'll see a couple of heat shield plays today. Not too sure. ATK making the rotation through artillery, just dominating their ground right now. They're holding edge of zone, and typically with a comp like this, it's pretty good to hold the edge of zone. Gibraltar's a really good zoning out character, and oh my goodness, this is about to be a big fight here because this is Revert Caustic, this is ATK, and now, you know, if there's anybody else that can give ATK a run for their money, I think it's Daddy Cool and the boys. Daddy Cool's a really, really great player, honestly. He's led a couple of scrim teams into a couple of victories, a couple of upsets as well for him, but I think, you know, if he gets his feet together, he can really do a good showing here for everybody.
Well, ATK showed their respect to him and the boys because they kind of ran away. They didn't want to fully take on that engagement. It was a bit of an awkward area as well, so don't want to take any risks just yet. We're still relatively early into this game, just 12 teams left now.
Yeah, 12 teams left. Everyone's gonna start to try settle into a little bit of a spot right now. We see Lag, who are just chilling in this building, holding a little bit of ground. ATK is still procking and prodding out in the distance here. We tune into OGC Esports, who are also on my watch radar. Just chilling up at the top here, controlling things at Crash Site. And, you know, Crash Site is another one of those pure Ys where what Respawn have done is just created so much high ground and low ground, you know, to like verse your opponents, where it's really difficult sometimes to take some of the fights here. I mean, look at OGC right now. They've got, you know, reign of this entire area. We know ATK's in the area. We've just seen Lag down here, but they can see everything. They know all, you know, they can plot out who to take next and who to fight. Revert Caustic out here just holding some ground on the edge of the zone, and hopefully things go well for them. A lot of damage on Cinder so far, but unlucky that he doesn't have any kills or assists.
Yeah, he's got the skull piercing rounds there as well, so if they do manage to crack somebody open, he can finish them off very quickly. We see somebody on OGC drop already. Are the teammates going to get there in time to heal them up, or they're going to just drop as well? 2 down on OGC Esports, raced against the world right now. Is he going to run away and rat? Is he going to look to take that fight? I don't think so. Daddy Cool getting a decent amount of damage once again here. They're holding the spot quite well on reverse course again, not budging at all.
Yeah, and sometimes it's really just about holding your ground and waiting for that third party to come from behind and, you know, take out this team. And that just creates an opportunity for you. But it seems like someone's going to be zipping over. But Cinder with the wingman shots going crazy here. He's going to have to try to get this knock to give his team a little bit of an advantage. Oh, it actually seems as if Daddy Cool was able to get that knock for them. So now they've got that man advantage. They're going to look to heal just a tiny little bit before they try and make a play from this. Ideally for them, they'd want to clean up this fight and get themselves positioned to rotate into the next zone. Daddy Cool drops down. He's gonna just try bamboozle his way in here. But the fight's starting to stabilize. It's a tiny little bit here for Revert Caustic, but Cinder's taking a lot of damage.
They bring down one. Cinder is popping that med kit right now. Should be able to get it off. Gonna regen a lot, but his armor gonna have to regen that as well. He doesn't have a shield battery, so it's gonna take him a while to get all the way back up to full. But his team doing work so long. Caramel Gamer all the way up to red armor right now. Got that R301. He was speaking about it earlier. The long range capabilities of this gun and his all round capabilities. Phenomenal weapon. And oh, look at the damage from Cinder Live. Is he going to make this through? His teammates do come in. They clean that one up. I was worried there with the armor status, but teamwork makes the dream work there, Tendo.
Teamwork does make the dream work, and it's good to see Revert costing, dominating a little bit of the lobby just as much as ATK. And you see, ATK knew that they had to take down OGC from this position. They had such a good spot to control the whole zone, and now I'm a little bit worried for Revert Caustic since ATK's got that position. It's such a power position for this next zone. But now some people that we haven't seen buzzing with a little bit of action out here is Royal Esports, and it's Ben who's taking a couple of shots with the flatline here, manages to get a knock. They're going to play this dome quite well. Sends out the scan to see who else is up in front of them. And the rest of the team's going to move forward, trying to farm their way into this next zone. It's about to pull in, and they should be able to clean this fight up as they pull in here. Spitfire Camille has just been the go-to weapon for so many players now. They've reworked the Spitfire quite a little bit. It went to a stage where it wasn't so great. Now it's really good, but it's not so great sometimes. I mean, you saw there. It was really good for a moment, and then all of a sudden his zip fires just went a little bit awry,
The best weapon I can think of in terms of like distribution in damage is like the Mastiff. Like you say, before he could do 100 damage, but when you watch Tendo play stream and he has to use it, it only does 13, So those kind of distribution in damage, when there's that randomness, it can always be an awkward situation. But yeah, we saw even in the last lobby how guys were gunning people down from such long range with the Spitfire. Massive magazine in the gun as well, so you can just constantly put out the damage. It's quite a popular weapon, and for good reason.
Yeah, definitely. And with the addition of gold mags to the game, it's just been like insane to go up against, because sometimes there's nothing you can really do if someone's holding an angle with the Spitfire and they're just beating it down. But right now, Fractus have been doing really well to just farm their way in towards this zone, and they're not really trying to hold the power position in the center, much like ATK is. They're just trying to get as many kills as they can on the outskirts here. And GZ now is going to try to rotate over this mountain. It's a little bit hard for them to get up, but it seems like their team have managed to take out this team, He's very stuck, and it's a very awkward position, but he's still going to get his shots out, and he's still going to rotate in. GZ always willing to take the fight. And that's just like a Bangalore player, Bangalore players just, always ready to fight it out. I think just of like Shiv FPS, always ready to, 1v3, regardless of the situation.
You love to see it. The confidence is what we casters live for. Give us those hype 1v3 moments, man. We're waiting for it. And like you said earlier, ATK Arena in this crash site area is the scariest thing in this entire lobby. You give these guys such a good opportunity to play. Look at what they do. They just smash somebody down from the high ground, down them. Didn't they get the finish off? Not just yet, but they're going to go down, get the cleanup pretty easily for our boy Chamber here.
Yeah, and Revert Caustic just holding the tunnel. They know that ADK is in this lobby, so they know if they go into the wrong area, it's pretty much game over for them. So they're trying to play this, as patiently as possible, and I like that. They're waiting for their opportunities. They're on the edge of the zone. They've cleared their back right now. They're the only team on this side. Most of the other teams are going to be working their way in from that opposite side. So they've got a pretty good power position, but hey, again, ATK with that really good spot, they can see everything. They know all. Let's just hope there's a fight that breaks out on an opposite angle that, maybe might give an opportunity for a Revert Caustic to crawl under the rug. But for now, just chilling, looting, not doing much. So Camille, tell me, who's your favorite legends like so far that we've seen in terms of just like, gameplay, clutch ability, even from, the previous group?
I feel like Wraith is always an exciting hero to watch, the way she can get in and out of fights. Octane has always been exciting. Watching three heroes just jump onto another team is fun. I'm personally a Bloodhound player, so a bit of bias there. But I want to see more of those like hold your ground heroes, the Caustics come into play and stuff through these lobbies, which would be exciting. But I feel like the legends in Apex are really balanced. Obviously, there's stronger ones here and there. And the one hero legend I'd like to see more is Horizon. I feel like there's a surprising lack of Horizon in the African Throwdown so far.
Yeah, and I'm also a bit surprised to see that. I mean, Horizon was just added into the game as, a breath of life, I think, for the Apex Legends scene, because she just added this level of movement that we thought we had, but we were actually lacking, And I think it's just, exploded a little bit more creativity in some players, and we see a lot of Horizon in a little bit more ALGS tournaments. Not heavily picked, but I think, in the right hands, Horizon does what she has to do. ADK is still holding up this ground, though. They're in a pretty good position still, but that zone is going to pull away from them. Lag, who've been camping this building for ages, have now paid off for them, because now they've got those placement points. Top 6 right now We've got 16 people left on this playing field. Lag's just gonna try get their bearings, see where everybody is. 80k just raining thunder from up top. Rico with that Spitfire, it's so deadly. Is that a turbocharge Havoc as well? Oh, turbocharge Havoc. I don't know, Camille. Have you used the Havoc a little bit? You know, can you tell the difference between the turbocharger with it?
It is insane. I was sitting in lobby because you know when you play games, it is what it is. But I was sitting in lobby playing 1v1s with my friends and stuff. And with a turbocharger, that gun is completely different. It's a whole different ball game. It just wreaks havoc. Pun not intended or pun intended.
Yeah, of course. But Fractus in a little bit of a tough position. They're just below 80k, and 80k now making the jump pad play here. And it's actually a really good jump pad play because they're gonna get hold of this watchtower up here. And now they've pretty much guaranteed themselves a little bit of more high ground for this next zone. And there goes the chopper from Chambi. And Wiso gets that knockdown to Nai. And he's gonna have to get that recovery. Hopefully his teammates are there close to get him up. They're just going to hold this high ground right now, 80k. They're just in a really, really good position. I'd love to know which teams are in the zone right now. I know Lag was in here. Revert Caustic is hopefully still alive and, you know, making their way around the zone. Have found a bit of a home, but not too sure. Who else is here? Maybe... Yeah, I can't really recall too much, Camille. I'm not sure if you remember any of the other teams. We see Fractus here. Jeezy just have to rip a bat, or else it's a game over for him. Comfortably, though. They're going to have to make their way in.
Fractus have been playing quite aggressively. They've got a couple of kills so far, but now they're in a very rough position, playing 2v3. It's going to be 1v3 compared to the rest of the teams now, and 80k is going to lap up this kill in just a second here. Unsurprising, they're doing so much damage. GC going to eventually get brought down. That team's going to be eliminated in just a second. 80k prime position here at the edge of the zone.
Yeah, and 80k just dominating this high ground, and that's just been the name of the game to win this zone out. Stay on the hide and you'll be good. Fractus is still alive. They're still fighting.
They're still alive.
They're still going at it. They're not giving up just yet. And I told you to look out for Fractus because they've been scrimming. They know these tough situations. Back against the wall, you know, sometimes you just have to, you know, pull it out. And that's exactly what they're doing. But 80k right now is just going to keep their ground and keep dominating stuff. And, you know, I'm curious to see where the other teams might be situated. We still have
we've
5
seen
squads.
crazy things on the stream before. I mean, we saw DMNK clutch a win in the first map on streams day 1, where there were 2 versus 3. It was the final 2 teams left, and they managed to clutch a win. So maybe Fractus Gaming can do something a similar vein up against 80k Arena. Would be an epic. That's all I'm saying. Lag hiding out here, Mr. Savile, the last player left for his team. Got his team great placement points though. Oh, we're gonna get caught eventually. Feels bad. I Casters cursed him.
Yeah, a little bit of Costas curse there for him. It is what it is sometimes, but I got a good bit of a glimpse of who's alive, and it actually seems like we've only got Fractus as the only duo team up, because unless they got the res onto one of the down players of Revert Caustic, I saw Caramel ratting just under there. So 80k right now have got the numbers advantage and they've got the high ground. Although the zone doesn't necessarily pull right on top of them, so we'll see how well they can hold it from this position. Whoever's maybe around that cover there has a better position, and I think that just might be Revert Caustic, who have that little ledge to play off, and that's literally all they're hoping for now. But here comes the defensive bombardment from Bangalore, or rather barrage, sorry. And Caramel just gets taken out by Chambi. Chambi knew he was there. He knew he had to get rid of that solo. And now it's just the team that are left in the building. And I did say this ledge was the better position to play from. And you can just see 80k takes that position. 2 squads left. It's Royal. We have to verse 80k now. 2 versus 3. Rico with the Spitfire shooting in. The Eva 8 gets the ammo crack. Climbs on top of the roof. He's gonna hold his ground here. Comes in. The Eva 8 going crazy. And 80k take our first game of tonight. Camille.
Clean stuff from our favorites there, man. Clean stuff.
Clean.
They didn't even look like they sweated through the entire lobby, and it's the level we expect from the top dogs in this event, right? Or for this group at least.
Yeah, it definitely did well. And, you know, they just played their cards right, you know. I look back at the fight with OGC where they knew, hey, guys, we need this building or this point of interest, you know, to, you know, dominate the rest of this game. From here, we've got control of the entire area, and that's exactly what they did. And that one fight pretty much wins them the entire game.
I'm just in in a state of shock and awe, because watching that right now, and I know you had spoken about Tendo, you had spoken about ATK before the game. I'm basically just seeing the level of domination. I mean, how do you explain the strategy that ATK used in that particular match, Tendo?
I mean, it's that same old strategy, you know. Let's look at our zone. One thing about pro players is that after a while, you can start to read zones, you start to know where zone pools are going to be. And obviously, ADK has done their research and they knew that, hey, this particular zone, we need this position because they, God spot. I'm sure you guys are, are familiar with the term of God spot in any video game. It's the God spot that's going to win you the game. And with experience and playing the game a little bit more, you'll be able to find those God spots that will either guarantee you high placement or, clutch out the game.
I was listening to you guys casting earlier on, and you guys were talking about Horizon. And I know Horizon definitely brings a certain level of elevation to the game. And watching the way ATK played today, elevation definitely played a major role in their strategy, Camille.
100%. As Tender was pointing out throughout the match, right? The way they were controlling the zone and the areas, they were playing with the God spots. They took over the crash. They were worried about the team on crash site. They said, okay, these guys are a big threat. They went, they pressured them, they took them down. They held the crash sites for as long as they could. And the minute they needed to rotate, they got that jump over right to where they needed to be. So yes, they had the clutch. Yes, they had the good aim, all those fancy things done. They do to the highest order, but the way they play the game tactically was spot on. Their movement was great. Their rotations were great. And it's stuff we expect from our champions here. One of our best teams in Africa, ATK Arena.
That's ATK, the champions. Now let's take a look at the MVP first game for tonight, and that happens to be ATK Chambi with 10 kills, 2,760 damage done. That is phenomenal. Now, I was going to say this earlier on because I noticed how early on in the game, ATK had put in so much damage, and Thunder was pointing out that they were just tapping players and getting their shields up from blue all the way to red, and they did that fairly quickly in comparison to all the other games. Thunder, could you explain the strategy of using that damage? I mean, we're talking about the Evo Shield updates. A lot of people watching right now might not be avid Apex players. Could you explain what that Evo Shield update was and how ATK used it to their advantage?
So especially now with the Spitfire being in meta, Evo Shields are, probably one of the best things to have on you. I mean, there's only Evo Shields in the game, right? But because of being able to farm so much damage, with a particular gun, I'm looking at Spitfires, R301, Flatlines, these weapons where you can just burst so much damage out, from across the distance. It just gets your armor leveled up so that, when you find yourself into a situation where you're going to need that little extra 25 HP, you've already farmed it up where that team might be only trying to get that damage in that first fight, So you get situations where what we call getting caught off rotation, and those teams that catch teams off rotation will often be able to farm Evo damage and get their armors up. You start off with you only find whites in your area, you can farm your damage up, doesn't take too much, you'll get blues. And hey, let's say you didn't get that rotation and you didn't get that damage, you might not have blue armor for that crucial fight that you just need that extra 25 HP. So pretty much what Apex has done is rewarded players who are shooting pretty much and dealing damage and getting the kills.
Yeah, it's an idea to push you to get closer to your enemies, pun intended, in that particular situation. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with the second game of Group B at the Apex Legends African Throwdown. It's me, Dr. Sid, Camille, and Dendo Plays, and we will be right back. It is NODWIN Gaming Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy Dr. Sid, and we are back at the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming Africa. Make sure you follow us on all our socials. It's at NODWIN Gaming Africa or NODWIN Gaming AF. If you're not watching, you can watch on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. We are live right now, showcasing the best of African talent in Apex Legends. I am not here alone. I have two amazing people with me, Camille and Thendo Plays. I like to say that. It's like Thendo Plays. Like you didn't know, Thendo Plays. All right. We've had two amazing rounds, two amazing maps, one amazing map, and we're going on to the next map, which is Olympus. But before we do that, let's take a look at the standings right now after the first game of today. Camille, what do you see, man?
We got 80k on top. Kind of expected. They had a phenomenal first round. I mean, they had 17 kills, which we didn't even get to mention during the broadcast because obviously they were just making it look so easy. We spoke a lot about how they controlled the map, the way they rotated zones, the high grounds they held. But 17 kills is a lot. So shout out to them. Royal Esports came in second this time around, which is great because the other team in Group A was suffering. They were really low down on the standings afterwards. Had a couple of good performances, but the B team or maybe the A team doing a little bit better. Fractus Gaming, Tender was talking to them about talking about them for a lot during the broadcast. They did very well, getting that podium finish. Lag, of course, they held their zone for a while. They held that building. They ratted to manage to get a top placing. As we see, they placed points. They got a whole 7 in terms of placement. And of course, Reverse Caustic, we spoke about them a lot. You know, Caramel Gamers team with Cinda Live and Daddy Cool. They played very well. They had a couple of good team fight engagements. They also held points very well, but in the end, when they start getting pushed by the likes of 80k Arena and stuff, they did suffer, but they're in the top 5 right now. So they're in a very good position.
I have a question for Thendo. Thendo, who's surprising you that is in the low that didn't make a top 5 position? Which one on that list are you surprised or expected more from?
I'm a little bit disappointed with Underrated and where they're sitting right now. I think they were just unlucky to have run into 80k at the backside over there at Crash Side, so that kind of just ended their run off with minimal points. So I'm just hoping they have a better rotation this time and they have a better grasp of the game because these boys are cracked, and I've seen them play and I know they can whip it out if they need to. They just need to get in the right opportunity and the right position to do so.
So speaking of whipping it out, what different game combinations are we expecting from these teams on Olympus? This is a totally different map. We're expecting different comps and a different strategy. So then what are we expecting from these teams on this map?
Olympus is pretty big. I think, it's the biggest map in Apex right now. And because it's really big, we're still going to see a lot of Gibraltar players. Gibraltar is really good at dominating ground on Olympus. I mean, we'll still see our Raves. I hope to see a little bit more Horizons. I mean, this is her map. It's her bread and butter. She can, get up to really high grounds, and she's just versatile in all places. But I'm expecting to see a lot of congested fights on this map as well, because I think a lot of teams are just going to rotate into choke points. So I hope to see a little bit more Caustic players holding a little bit of ground. Not the greatest on Olympus, but I think if you have the likes of 80k running you down, it might not be a bad idea to have a Caustic on your team.
Definitely. All right, listen, I'm gonna leave you guys watching right now in the capable hands of these two amazing gentlemen, Camille and Thendo, who are going to take you through the action on Olympus. It is the African Throwdown Apex Legends Africa, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming. Let's go. I like Africa so much. Let's keep it on.
Dr. Sid repping Nigeria and the African continent as a whole, as always, and we're going to be repping the second map here for the African Throwdown. Tendo, I'm excited, and I really like the point you made about Caustic, where it can maybe stave off the very aggressive teams like 80k for just wanting to jump in, gun you down and such. But Fractus Gaming with they had the foresight in the last matchup on King Canyon, where they saw the Caustic team, and in the minute they had a visual of them, they're like, we got to push them before they get into that spot, they get into the building that they're comfortable in, where they lock off all the doors. So it would be interesting to see the comp. We see DMNK the last time also had a very interesting composition when they played on this map, when they were all out for kills. They had Octane and Pathfinder on the same team. They had mobility for days, yo.
Yeah, and mobility is the name of the game on Olympus. You really need to be mobile because if you're caught lacking, that just might be your game done. So I think Octane is still also going to be a really big pick here. I think Octane's really good for Olympus. You cover so much ground with those Octane jump pads. So let's just hop right into this first game. And there's Olympus. It's big. It's beautiful. We love to see it. I think just the breadth of color, in terms of just like map creation. I think in a lot of video games as well. I think it's one of those maps when it loads up, I'm like, fresh air, it just looks really cool, I think.
I completely agree. This is how I envision Tokyo or Kyoto rather in Japan to look in like 2050, super modern, super beautiful, sakura flowers everywhere, the best stuff. And we're gonna go follow Caramel Gamers in the live and Daddy Cool once again here on launch of drop rather.
And they're going to be choosing the power station here. Power station's a really, really good drop spot. A big thing about Olympus is, Camille, that rotating is probably the name of the game. It's so easy to get from this point of interest to that point of interest, and that's pretty much what causes a lot of fights in this map. I mean, you look up towards that north side of the map, Power Grid is next to Rift, Fight Night, Carrier, Docks. There's all these teams in those areas, and they're so close to each other that I wouldn't be surprised if they all find a way to just start fighting with each other. And speaking of fights, we're tuning into a fight right here.
MaFisi taking a fight right now. They got the RE45 plus the wingman on the Ladyism. Okay, a lot. That's quite a nameful there. But not gonna hard commit to any fights just yet. Don't want to take 50-50s. Neither of these two teams are engaging yet, but they might look to chase. They got full armor. It's still white armor, and stopping over here. They are fighting. They got a bit of damage there on the Bloodhound, but he should be okay for now. They're gonna scan it. They're gonna see three of the enemies. Bloodhound not sitting too healthy anymore. Armor completely cracked. Still looking for some peaks, but not gonna find anything there, Tendo.
Yeah, it's the white armor game right now, and the one thing about having white armor is it's a little bit shaky when you want to aggress up on a team, especially if you don't know what weapons they might have in their hands. So the team's just holding ground, and it's good to see a Caustic player here because that's exactly what I thought to myself, that people are going to be aggressive on this map. People are going to want to take fights, People are going to be trying to get into your face, and this team is definitely getting that back end of people getting into their face. They need to just regroup together and take a fight, coordinated, maybe look to get a group knock. And time a bit of a kill here to open up for them. If not, they're just going to be on the back foot and they're just going to get pushed, pushed down. And it's not a good position to be in when you're getting pushed down.
They did manage to find cover under the doors there. The caustic gas always going to be effective. And we see Team TBN doing a lot of damage. They want to get aggressive. They've already got very high level armors. They got good guns from all ranges. And they got a lot of damage out here on the Bangalore. From the Lifeline. Lifeline just going in. This is supposed to be the support hero. He doesn't care. He just knocks one down.
And oh my goodness, the R301 shots here from Madafkin is just going crazy, and it's doing so much damage for the team. But unfortunately, K gets knocked down, and now the fight's a little bit lopsided, maybe a bit of an advantage. And we see ATK here at Carrier, who have just rotated from Oasis. This is, I think, where they dropped off. And you see, this is Olympus at its finest.
You called it, like you said, the NODWIN of the map is just going to be a straight up mess up. Like, Battle Royale, really. Look at those fights going on. Center Life gonna drop down one there. It's just been madness there, though. 8 teams already eliminated.
Yeah, it's been quite madness, and it's not the end just yet because there's still so many teams close up. And as soon as ATK gets on the kill feed, I think a smart team will realize where they are and maybe look for this rotate. I would, as Revert Caustic, see ATK in the kill feed, probably know where they're shooting from, knowing they landed towards this area, and look to third party this fight. Get them out early in the game because we know they're just going to be running around, causing a rampage and trying to take every single fight. And look, unfortunately, now it's ATK that are taking that opportunity. They know that Revert Caustic's up there, and they might just be able to get this fight. But tuning into Innovated Crimson, who are actually getting a res close to where Revert Caustic was. So I'm interested to see what the retaliation is going to be here.
Yeah, I think they're not too early in the game to, for the respawn is game breaking. It's still fine. As long as they get the respawn off, they can get the loot up for their teammates. They should be able to compete for this game once again. But like you say, teams are going to be on the hunt. 80k running down and Revert Caustic as well. So there's going to be 3 teams trying to third party here. Ooh, look at the damage coming out with the longbow. The Streaker doing so much there.
Yeah, the longbow is really, really good for dealing damage from far. Most snipers in Apex are really good from dealing damage from far, but Daddy Cool, climbing up to take this Octane down, pulls a couple of massive shots, manages to get the knock. It's gonna calm things down. The Red Caustic still sitting in a very comfortable position, but unfortunately 80k is coming in here to spoil their day. This is a big fight right here in this lobby right here. Revert Caustic versus 80k, who will come up on top, and so far it seems like Champy's coming in with a whole bunch of wingman shots. He pulls out the Mastiff. It seems like Weiss was getting a little bit of a smoke, but the Mastiff shots from Champ, they're big, they're massive. He's going big. He hasn't quite knocked the player just yet, and it's going a little bit shaky, but there goes Caramel. He goes down, and that's going to be Revert Caustic going down to the hands of 80k.
Oh, that was so decisive. They saw the third party happening. They looked like Reverse Caustic wanted to get the easy kill on the respawning team, but 80k do what they do best. They swooped in and they took them down. Sad times for Caramel Gamer and Co, because they came in, they got out before even the top 10, but it is what it is. When the top dogs find you, sometimes you just gonna have to go down.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate for Reverse Caustic. I mean, if only they could hear me and what I'm telling them, giving them all this advice on what to do, but you know, it is what it is. They just took the wrong fight at the wrong time, and it's very unfortunate because Innovated Crimson was that team that got that res that ultimately drew the 80k to this fight, and the Kaiju's still alive. He's still kicking it, you know, might be able to get a ban or two, might be able to salvage this game for, you know, Innovated Crimson, so it's not quite over for them yet. So we've got a little bit of a rat story here.
They just baited Reverse Caustic out here. So let's see what he does. He's taking a decent amount of damage. He doesn't have the heat shield that I can see, but he should be able to be fine. The zone not too far away, and he's playing the raid, so he's got that extra speed as well.
Yeah, and we're tuning into Underrated right now, who are just on the outskirts here of where Oasis is, just holding a little bit of ground. They've got OGC on top of them. These two teams can clash heads, and I'd say, you know, they're a little bit, oh, it's not OGC, sorry, it's DDC Crimsons. I haven't seen quite much from them today. I think they might have went out a little bit early. A new team from my eyes as well, so hope to see them, you know, do a little bit of work from that top position as they push Underrated away from their position. But
yeah,
you know, I hope Underrated does well today, Camille. You know, we haven't seen much from them.
You were talking about them a lot before the broadcast even started today, and I feel like in the second map they're really living up to standards. They've already got 5 kills on Olympus map so far, 4 on one player, 1 on the other, and I didn't see the third teammate just yet, so they've already got their kill score up. They're in the top 9 here, and they look to be in a very good position, so let's see how far they can push 80k and the rest of the team going into those final few zones that are coming up. We're still only in the round 1 zone closing, which is crazy to think that half our field's already wiped out, but that's just Olympus things, right?
Yeah, that's definitely just Olympus things, and I'm hoping for the final game teams realized that we can't land the north side. It's too congested. There's a lot of south side POIs that maybe, you know, people could have landed on. I mean, the lobby's not full. Typically, Camille, I'm not too sure. Do you know how, you know, contesting works in Apex Legends, or at least when a lobby's not too full like this, it's often, you know, favorable to land very, you know, far away from everybody. Like, why take an early fight? Why take these rotation, you know, battles when you can just, you know, play on the outskirts, get your loot up, and get into a comfortable position? So, especially in a lobby where it's not full, it doesn't make sense why there's so many north side teams. You know, look where everybody's going, then decide maybe, you know, let's pull back here, guys. It's gonna be a little bit better for us, and that's kind of why we've seen so many teams die so early in the beginning here.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Battle Royales, initially when the genre was coming into fame, like 3-4 years ago when Fortnite was rising up, Apex was coming out and such, there was one of the big criticisms of the game, oh, it's so much luck involved, all those kind of things. But if you think about it, especially a game like Apex Legends, there's so much tactics that goes into your rotations, your movements and such. It is just crazy to run into the biggest like hotspots in the point of entries. The placement points are a thing. Play a bit smarter. I agree with you there, but maybe nobody expected everybody to jump north side. I'm not sure, because there is a couple of good loot spots on the south side as well. So let's see how teams change up going forward. And 80k jumping into a fight here immediately. A lot of damage coming out from Mr. Champion there. He's going to go in. He's going to... Oh, he misses the second massive shot, but he's going to get the down here eventually. So much damage. And the rest of the team just doing their thing. They got the digital scope there as well. And the Bloodhound. They did see another team there. They're going to take this fight. Look at this damage coming off from long range. Oh, man. What are they trying? That team just got wrecked.
Today, Dust is on a mission with his longbow. He's absolutely decimating this team from a distance. He's almost 1v3ing this team with a longbow from so far away. This is tragic. The Pathfinder player doesn't know where to go. He's ducking, diving, weaving. Champions running up. Champions is going to clean those guys up immediately. So
what is this accuracy?
And that is exactly what is happening. This is just a devastating display of ability right now. That team is absolutely lopsided, not knowing what to do. And I believe that is Team 69. It's a bit tough. They're on the receiving end. They're not looking good for them. They just needed, to find their bearings, regroup, and, fire back at a team like ATK. You can't let ATK shoot at you. You have to shoot back, You got to break an armor, let them panic a little bit, let them regroup while you're trying to do the same thing. You can't just let a team bully you like that,
All I'm saying, if the streaker was in my CSGO lobby, I would have tried to get him banned from the game for hacking and aim hacks there, because that was just so accurate. The amount of headshots he got there with his rifle, just gunning them, all three players down. Chambi did go and get the cleanups, but it was all the streaker there with the sweet carries with the longbow. But man, oh man, what can you do, man? Getting caught by ATK in that position, like you say, you need to have you have to put up a fight. And unfortunately, they didn't have a Gibraltar on their team. A bubble would have been so useful in that situation to let them regroup, drop down the ulti, maybe give them a chance to fight. But with that hero composition, they were just caught in the open and caught in the worst possible situation, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I, said early in the beginning of this game that Gibraltar should be, a big map pick. I mean, a big legend pick for everybody, because moments like that where you just need that little bit of cover just to stabilize your team, to re-aggress, to, reposition, that you just will lack without a Gibraltar player. And we tune into Pheonix, who are caught out in the open here, and it looks like Cold goes down to Cheetah Boy, and it's good to see unrated in the kill feed as we tune into Innovated Crimson, and Cyber is just a raining thunder down here with the Havoc from above here. And they're gonna try to drop down. They're probably looking to get a little bit of a loot here. We saw that they, started things off a little bit shaky, Innovated Crimson. So they're just trying to get that loot as safely as possible. And we tune back in to Nyan Gao, who's just trying to hold things down. He's got that caustic gas. He's gonna duck, dive, and weave, but it's just not enough. And they're gonna get taken out here. Innovated Crimson doing well as a duo to, salvage this game. They're in the top 5 position. Things are looking good for them.
But they're getting caught there as well. Obviously, Octane going to have the speed and have Wraith and Octane here. So they're two very mobile legends at the moment. They're going to get the jump pad away. They should be fine. It looks like ATK on the hunt there. They got the piece of the hunt ready. The digital scope is on. And they're ready to chase. Why so friendly? Making the run down as well. They want to find these kills, and they probably will. Look at the aim there. Gibraltar on the money with Chambi there to follow. These three guys just got absolutely zero chill right now.
Yeah, and ATK doing ATK things, running down the lobby. And look at that 10 around. He just turns around. YSO beams with the R301. And honestly, R301 coupled with the 3 times ranger is honestly just a match made in heaven. It does so much damage from long range. And once you get really good with your recoil control, it honestly is a game changer. And we're going to tune into OGC, who are just holding things down here. Astro's taking a little bit of damage, gets that dome out. Gonna have to pop this battery, and they're just gonna try to stabilize things. I wonder how many kill points they have. They've got the placement points, but they might be lacking on the kill points. Good to see an horizon here from Neo.
100%. We were asking for this legend, and he's come out finally. But like you say, they've been playing very safe on OG Esports in the second map. They haven't taken too many unnecessary fights, not too many kills, but they've got the placement points. Like you said, they've made it to the top 5 here. They've got a decent position. Let's see how they hold out, and let's see what they can do coming in towards the end game here with our last 5 teams remaining.
Yeah, ATK making their way in to the next zone. This side of the map probably clear. I mean, look at that kill leader with 8 kills. They're absolutely just running through this lobby right now. So, we'll see who's gonna go up against them and maybe give them a little bit of a showing. If I'm not mistaken, Underrated is still in this one. OGC could give them a little bit of a fight. So ideally, the situation here is with a team like ATK, who's just running around taking every single fight. You need to just play the third party. Wait it out. This is a waiting game from these teams that maybe want to steal one win today from ATK. Just wait for them to get into a fight and jump in and third party. That's your best bet.
Yeah, I'm thinking the exact same team. You know how aggressive ATK want to play. It looks like Underrated trying to take the fight against them, yeah. This could be a good one. This is the matchup you wanted to see, Tendo. I am so hyped for it right now. Shit shot, thermite grenades, they're going in. And a couple of decent shots there from Cheetah. Excellent stuff.
Oh, Cheetah turns around and just catches a player sleeping. Cyber goes down over there. It looks like OGC is getting themselves in the kill feed as well. And it's this cross-range fight between ATK and Underrated. Underrated in pretty good position right now. They've got the high ground, but they have used their defensive bombardment, so that will no longer be an option for them. So they have to really play these shots really well here. And you know, another thing that I hope, you know, Underrated does that other teams aren't doing against ATK is knocking one at a time, you know? Like, it's all fun and games to, you know, 3v3 and you all take your 1v1s. But if you know, 3v1 one at a time, it might work out better. But ATK is just coming on top here, and that Gibraltar ulti is just gonna rain havoc and take down Bradley. And here comes Waiso coming in with a massive 1, 2, 3. One more player left, gets him out, and it's just clean-cut execution from ATK. You can just tell they're a well-oiled machine. This is literally just a walk in the park for them.
And that's exactly what you were saying. Yeah, the 3v3s and getting your 1v1s and stuff, it's all well and fine, but if you coordinate as a team together, bring down one at a time, you just give yourself an advantageous position, and picture perfect execution there from ATK. That was just sensational.
Oh no, so I was about to, you know, say that we've got ourselves a bit of a 3v3 final zone over here. It's OGC Esports versus ATK. And ATK is just launching it right here, but Chambi goes down. So now it's a 2v3. And OGC might be in a good position here. It seems like Waiso's really weak. He's gonna try to flip around with the Mastiff, gets the one shot. But now it's all up to Astros on the one side. He has the R301, but it's not enough. And ATK launch it into OGC after getting the knockdown and managed to clutch up the game. Oh no.
It was close, Tendo. It was so close. They almost had them. They dropped the one. It was Astro 1v2 there at the end. And the one guy, he was so low. I feel like he could have done it, but in the end, ATK do clutch it out. But OGC going to be much happier with their performance here on map number 2 as opposed to the first one. They finished 7th in the first one. This time around, they really showed up. Dr. Sid, how was that ending, man?
These guys, like, that was so clutch. And watching you guys and listening, I was just thinking the same thing as Tendo said it, that if you pick one player and focus on that guy and drop one player at a time, like focus fire, you throw teams off their game. But those 1v1 situation, especially against a team like A, who move like a well-oiled machine, it's a no-win situation. I mean, look at the final play there. You had dropped one player, and then all of a sudden, it's like the tables just switch. And I just watched the masterclass once again in teamwork and exactly, you know, what you do in a situation like that. I mean, look, ATK champions of game number 2 on Olympus. This is the Group B matches at the Apex Legends African Throwdown by NODWIN Gaming. Make sure you follow NODWIN Gaming on all our social handles. It's at NODWIN Gaming Africa. And, you know, for me right now, I'm really curious. Camille, who do you think is the MVP on that ATK team?
Oh man, there were so many good plays. I can't decide. I can't decide between the 3. No ways. It was like too good. I think.
Tendo, who's your pick? Before we see the MVP, who's it gonna be?
It's too late. It's Dust.
Yes, and especially with those the long range shots. Was that the longbow he was using?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, the longbow did a lot of work for ATK in that game, and they just farmed damage of everybody in that lobby. I think it was quite a display of their abilities. And you said it as well, Dr. Sid, like, you know, their teamwork is just on par, and you can just tell they've been playing together. I mean, this is probably one of the longest running, you know, competitive rosters. I mean, besides the addition of Chambi coming in pretty recently, I mean, Das and Waiso have been playing together for like as long as I've been playing Apex, I swear.
So, and one of the things I wish we could have was like a cam, so to speak. Like, I wish we could hear the comms between the players. That would be like priceless. Like, just to hear how they coordinate in different battle situations. Like, do the call outs and when somebody's down, and it was just a beautiful situation to watch. And one of the things you also said then at the beginning was how small this map is and how aggressive players were, to get to the point where before we had like the first circle, we already had half of the field gone, Camille, if I'm right.
Right, 100%. And I feel like, okay, we're going into Kings Canyon for map number 3 now, so I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. By the time we get back to map number 4, I want to see more Gibraltars, because every time you make a rotation, especially, everything ends up going to the middle of the Olympus, as Tento was saying previously. If you have to run through a field like that, especially, like, perfect example is when Das was on 80k, was just shredding people with the longbow. If you have a jib there and you can drop down a bubble, that situation is completely different. A super high stress situation where your team gets eliminated becomes now one where you can hold your position, right? If you have to rotate through these, like, open plains of field the whole time, you're going to get massacred without a jib. Well, there's a lot of movement heroes as well, but the jib it just feels so good on this map specifically.
I personally can't wait to see the updated standings for today when we come back from this amazing break. And I want to hear Tendo's thoughts on what people should do moving back to Kings Canyon. It's the Apex Legends African Throwdown with Dr. Sid, Camille, and Tendo, and we will be right back after this. I'm getting my little dance on. I'm excited. Ladies and gentlemen, we just watched a master class at the Apex Legends African Throwdown. Thendo plays and Camille. We are here having a blast and watching Africa showcase amazing gaming talent. Now, we just watched game two on Olympus, and I think right about now we're going to take a very quick look at the updated standings to see where our teams are lying in the championship for Group B. Camille.
Well, the biggest shock of the entire event, 80K Arena at first place in their group so far after 2 games. The most shocking thing though is 37 kills. Yeah, I'm not going to say it's shocking, it's kind of expected, but 17 kills on the first map and then 20 on Olympus, top tier stuff. OGC, I'm really happy with the way they showed up in game number 2. They struggled on Kings Canyon, they got caught out in a weird place, but they said no. None of that nonsense here in the second game. They secured themselves the second place and they put up a really good fight against 80K in the end. Of course, eventually they lost. Royalty keeping their spot there in third place on the podium. And underrated ZA, again, they really struggled on the first map getting caught by 80K. But here on Olympus, they got 9 kills. They absolutely killed it. They slayed it. So congrats to them. The top 5 looking kind of as we expected with Fractus and Revert, Caustic just on everybody's tails there at the top end of the spectrum.
I'm super worried right now because when I look at the standings right there, I can see the kill points from 80K with 37, and then the closest person is on I think 11 or 9. Like, then what is happening right now in terms of those kill points? Because help me.
I think it's just 80K executing, you know what I mean? I think 80K's game plan from the beginning was like, hey guys, we know we can pretty much, take any fight in this lobby. Let's do that, and they're not shying away from that. They genuinely are taking every fight in the lobby. And then maybe you ask me, like, how do you counter a team that just wants to fight, You fight them, actually, to be honest with you. You see them fighting, you try to get involved in their fight. And you need to try take a firepower like that out, because what's actually happening right now in the lobby and why the points is like so far apart from each other is because 80K is just like sucking up everybody else's kills points, No one else is getting kills, and that's the real problem.
Wow. So I mean, if I was like a strategist right now, I would literally call everybody up and say, "Y'all know what's gonna happen. We're not gonna fight each other unless we see 80K. Then we're gonna fight 80K, take them out, and then it's open season. We can start to have a go at each other." But right now, we are doing something which is amazing. We are going back to a place that is everybody's familiar with. It's called Kings Canyon. I'm switching to the Nigerian accent so my African people can know that Africa is in the building, because it's the African Throwdown with Apex Legends. And I'm going to leave you in the hands of 2 capable people. Like you already know, they'll be handling this casting very well. It is Tendo, who we know that he plays, because Tendo plays, and it's Camille, who is a chick. Camille, you have to tell me how to say that. Camille chick tays.
Chick tay. Yeah, you say it right. You say it right, man. So good.
Camille chick. We're gonna have a conversation about that later on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming. I'm gonna leave you in the hands of Camille and Tendo.
All right, after Dr. Sid's handoff there, I'm convinced Kings Canyon is actually a place in Africa, I'm convinced it has to be in Nigeria. He hyped it up so much, has to be home turf, right, Tendo?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's kind of got, kind of like that that African feel, I guess. It's got that deserty vibe. It's pretty dry. So, maybe you travel up there, we'll see it. But jokes aside, we're getting back to our third game, and it's Kings Canyon again. You know what I mean? And, things are a little bit different after coming off a map like Olympus and jumping onto Kings Canyon, Camille. I don't know about you, but it's usually in the 4-game series, if you spectate a lot of Apex Legends, this is the do or die game for a lot of these teams, in terms of getting those points back, right? Because you can't really be relying on your final game to be your pop-off game. This is it. This is where we need to see the scenario where 80K goes down in one of their early fights and it opens up the lobby. I think this is what we want to see right now.
100%. And I think if you are a team, like obviously ATK is well ahead on the top. They comfortable, they cruising, they chilling right now. But if you're from like second place to like eighth place, I feel like those spots are the most competitive. There's like really good teams through all those ratings, but it's all very tight. Like you need to do something in this third match to stand above the rest of your field. Again, like you say, if you can do something crazy like catch ATK during a third party, bring them down, it opens up the entire game for you because you don't have to worry about you don't gonna struggle to find kills on the map because one team is just hogging them all, you know?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
we have to see something crazy. Like you say, you want to see teams have the courage to just jump in there and take these fights. There's no running away in Apex Legends. There's too many tracking abilities. There's too many fast heroes. There's too many long range guys. You just got to stand there and fight in some way, somehow, come out at the end of the tunnel with it, you know?
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to see a couple of teams come out at the top, and particularly looking at underrated to, maybe steal the show for this game. But we're going to jump right back into the game. And we're tuning into Rennie, Cold, and Rep Pro, who are going to be checking themselves right in to, I believe they're going towards Gauntlet, if I am not mistaken. Teams are dispersing themselves quite well around the map. I don't think we'll see too many early contestants, considering, most teams have probably figured out where everyone's going to land based off the first game. And that's also another thing, right? First game, Kings Canyon, everything that happened in that game you need to remember, kind of, a team like Underrated needs to know that ATK is going back to the same drop spot, which we see them going back to, that same area, that crash side area. So maybe stick away from that area. You don't need to do too much here, but we're jumping on to OGC Esports right now.
Level 2.
They came to the Caustic area. I don't see another team land with them, but I could have missaw. This is a very high tier loot area. If you can get the guns under the acid, especially, there's always great weapons there. So they will have a decent amount of loot. This area can be kind of weird sometimes with rotating back into zone. It can be very far away sometimes. But for the most part, loot is always good. Loot is always good there.
Yeah, definitely. It's sparked up a little bit more life on Kings Canyon as well. The old treatment was a little bit lackluster. It was a little bit boring for a couple of players, and people didn't really want to land there. But at least now, especially off hot drops, a lot more players are looking towards landing at that treatment area. And I think it makes for good fights as well. It's pretty well designed, I think, compared to most POIs. And we're tuning to Lag here, who are in a fight here at also, and one of the players goes down, but the wingman shots are just insane here from Savoli.
They're gonna rush into the Gibraltar bubble. They kill one permanently. Gibraltar trying to hold his ground. Can he do it? Or they're gonna win the fight? Are they gonna clutch it out here? It's so intense for the moment. Lag picks up the respawn banner. It looks like his team is the team to win out here. So they do. It is very early in the game. They can respawn their teammate without too much of a worry. But at least they managed to clutch out that fight in the end there.
And I think, unfortunately, that was Revert Caustic that went down to the hands of Lag. And that's just unfortunate for, the team who I think was sitting at 6th place right now. This was their game, I think, that they needed to bounce back. And, it happens in Battle Royales. Not every drop is going to be really good. But now, Bradley just beaming from above here. Underrated making a play. And they're going to try finish off this team just below them. Bradley flying in with that Octane jump pad. He's going to make sure to get in here. He hits that wall bounce mechanic. Spot him in the corner. Alternator doing a lot of damage. And Alternator has just been so good recently after it got a buff not too long ago, Camille. I think it was around the same buff as the Mastiff. Does a little bit more damage. So it's just absolutely shredding people these days.
Yeah, especially in these early game engagements when you're fighting up close range, you just tear people apart. That SMG just so valuable and underrated, living up to their potential here in this third game. You said the pressure is on. That 2 to 6, 2 to 8 place we're talking about. Who's gonna rise up in this third game? This is the do or die game. Reverse Caustic, they went down, but underrated, they're getting up the kills yet again, showing up, repeating the performance they showed in the on the second map, which I'm very happy to see them do here on Kings Canyon as well.
Yeah, very happy to see them doing well as well. So we'll tune into Pheonix, who were lucky and they got the dropship here. Probably got a little bit of high tier loot. And Lag, I think, is adapting ATK meta. And they know that this is a kill heavy lobby. We need to get kills. If we don't get kills, we're not getting KP. And Savoli here with the massive shots, not really connecting, a little bit disoriented on where his teammate is here, and he's just shooting shots, and it's not going in his favor, and it's OGC, Neo, who manages to take him down, and OGC have just turned the tables onto lag, and they just managed to wipe them out, and OGC, clean cut, perfect right there. I mean, they barely took any damage, they coordinated themselves well, absolutely had them bamboozled.
Tendo, you cast this curse, they'll be like, yeah, they're adapting to this lobby well, the kills, all that kind of stuff, and then they just got caught. But like you said, OGC used their movement to perfection there. The way they juked and jived around the Gibraltar bubble, most specifically, sensational stuff. OGC showed their strength in the second game by holding the point, by getting that placement point and finishing second. Now they're playing aggressive and they're looking good. This is a very scary lobby. That 2 to 8th place is looking like a bloodbath right now, with 2 of those top teams we were talking about earlier already out of the mix.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough, but I mean, that's battle royales. You get caught off the wrong rotation, and it just happens, and we'll tune into Pheonix, who have lost cold and are trying to make a rotation out. 13 squads left, getting beamed with a charge rifle from a distance. It looks like it might be 69 Gaming who are taking those shots. 69 haven't been doing too badly. We've seen them in and out, of the lobbies. Maybe there'll be a bit of a better showing from them here. But back to underrated, and underrated just trying to run down this lobby just like ATK. You can just see they've got that go for it mentality. Fortune and Bradley just launching themselves into almost every single fight that they can. Cheetah's gonna have to put down this dome. Chopper in hand, taking a couple of shots here. Hasn't done too much damage. Got a slide in for this one.
This is a ticked out Spitfire. We got the purple scope as well. So from the long range, very, very effective right now. You see the tracking going down. Oh, Rossman going to get brought down there. MaFisi are going to be in trouble. They're going to have to take their next fights 2 versus 3, it looks like. And ATK Arena not too far away either. Are they going to get their team man's banner here?
And so far, kills aren't leaning too much towards ATK, so I think the lobby's starting to level itself out just a tiny little bit. I think they just landed a little bit too far from where the rest of the fights are ATK, so they're probably just trying to make their way. And things are not looking so good here for Sun. Just gonna have to try to get out of that situation. But speaking of ATK, yes, ATK is trying to run down the team. Chambi slides in with the R99, does so much damage, but yay! This is looking a little bit shaky, and Chambi goes down. And this is probably the first time we're seeing one of the ATK members go down in the lobby before one of the final fights. This might spell trouble, but it does look like they're going to be able to get this res off here. Not quite yet. The Weisel's going to have to drop down that defensive bombardment and back off. And now things are looking a little bit shaky for ATK.
So a bit of a change of pace. They're actually under pressure for once. They're trying to hold the door here on Weiso. Let's see if the team can bring them down here. Logic gonna drop, so the Speaker doing what he does best, going to help his teammate out. Chambi's still in trouble, but these 2 boys, they haven't given up just yet. They still want to take this fight. They ain't too scared. They get scanned out. They're gonna get a scan as well. Look at the damage coming out. I think they did down another. Yes, they did indeed. This fight should be easy pickings for them now, and they're gonna get the race off rather comfortably. So HK sweated a bit, Tendo, but at the end of the day, they still come out ahead in that engagement.
Yeah, and it's just the ability of resetting that the team has in those situations where things are looking a little bit grim for them. But, they managed to get their footing back together, and they're just going to try to do as much damage as they can. And JJ is going to, unfortunately, be knocked out of this round, at least for now. Maybe they'll be able to bring him back, get that banner. But ATK in a bit of a tough position as they're gonna have to rotate off the edge of the zone. But Chambi just slides in with those R99 shots, the wingman shots.
God.
He's just devastating to watch, and there's nothing there that the team of Fractus could have done. When ATK is running at you, you should probably just be running as well.
So damn accurate. They just landed every single shot. The wingman headshot for 90. Oh man, oh man. I think teams did listen to your advice there, Tendo. They're like, we got a third-party ATK. This is the strat. We're going to take them out of the lobby. Unfortunately for all the teams, ATK welcomed their challenge, and they showed why they're the champions. They've taken 2 teams out now in that exact same space. Oh man. Oh man.
Camille, and honestly, what I'm finding a little bit disappointing in this lobby in terms of just like trying to counter this heavy top figure of ATK is, Apex at the end of the day, you can win just by, playing the correct zone, getting to the right position. ATK aren't really playing for that right now. They're going for the kill game, right? They're sticking to the edge of the
Right.
zone. They're working their way in. You know, they don't really care to not have an end game position because they know they might just be able to win that gunfight to get that end game position. What teams could be doing in a lobby like this is, you know, find a position where they know they'll have a power spot, almost like they had in that first game of Crash Site ATK, and just hold that position and try win the game off that. But people are a little bit, you know, weary of that tactic, struggling a little bit here as we tune into Royalty Esports. One person left on the team.
I mean, in a way, you are right. It is a bit of a show of disrespect from ATK where they're just running in looking for the kills. They're like, we can do what we want in this lobby. But at the same time, in the first game, when a team did try to do that, ATK recognized that a team was holding the high ground, then they had the crash site so well, and they rotated on them. So I feel like they even with their craziness they're showing this game, they're still paying enough attention to the greater zone of the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they definitely are paying attention. I mean, look, rotating on the edge of zone doesn't mean you're not... Oh my goodness, Chambi with these wingman shots. It's just a pleasure to see, honestly, sometimes when he hits these shots. Hitting those headshots so consistently, and that's what's winning them the game. They're just able to deal so much damage so much quicker than any of these other teams, and they just get overwhelmed fighting against ATK, and we just need to find a team that can handle their own against them. But it's a little bit rough.
But we'll see. We see in the last in game on map number 2, OGC Esports did try play that strategy you're talking about. They did play zone from the get-go, but we see Wiso taking so much damage. They're gonna return a bit, but Chambi once again with the wingman cracking yet another lot of armor. He's got an aimbot with this gun because he's just dead accurate, and he's willing to chase. Looking for more. Can he bring down that race? A lot, even more damage coming out there. Got the R99. Can he just shred this race down? Yes, he can. Even the melee attack coming out there at the end. Okami-chan is a dead-chan now.
Yeah, you hate to see the melee come out, but you know, it's we all live for those moments where we're able to melee our opponents and get that final kill. So shout out, you know, Innovated Crimson holding this high ground position, just trying to control the area, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from Innovated. They're controlling a lot of this end game. You know, they're trying to get as much information as they can and see exactly where, you know, all the squads would be rotating in this area. And I think it'll work in their favor, especially for, you know, those final placement points that they're gonna need. But they should look to get a couple more kills. Looking at an overview of the zone, it's quite distributed. No one quite really holding that center of the map, except for I think one of the other Innovated teams, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, Innovated just dropped down from the top side. So ATK rotating in, and we'll see. No, who's the next opponent? Who's gonna take out ATK next?
All the teams were looking for that fight. You know, it's like Floyd Mayweather. You know, for the last 20 years, people have been saying they can beat this guy, but every single time he gets in the ring, he just proves them wrong. That's what this lobby seems like right now. But I still have faith. I'm still hoping. I'm still dreaming. The only worry I had for the team's Innovated Gaming is that they were looking a bit low on ammo with the heavy ammo for the Spitfire, and that's what they were using for the long range. But look at Team Underrated. They completely stacked up here. They were R301 with gold attachments. They got the Vault here as well, one of the best energy rifles in the game.
Let us go this way.
Oof. We just tune into Dust using the triple take. And Dust is honestly just a sniper expert, it would seem. He just uses the sniper so well. And you know, he's notable for being a good long range shooter, and it's really showing off. It really pays off for ATK in terms of gaining on ground, because, you know, that just pushes the team back a little bit when you're able to get that damage from a distance. It just, you know, guarantees your team a little bit more distance to push up on. And it seemed like OGC is taking the back end over there with ATK, and they seem to be the next one in the fight. It seemed like a three-way fight, actually. And right now, Underrated are really my top pick to clutch this game out. They're sitting in a good position. They've got high ground control. They just need to scout everything out and make sure they've got everything on wraps.
I was going to say the same thing. I'm waiting for that boss battle, that finale. Underrated in a great position. Maybe this would be the time they can take out ATK. We see MaFisi still in this game, even though they dropped their teammates super early on in this round. They've managed to stay in the game. They've held their positions well, and they're gonna eke their way in, hopefully, to the top 5 of this third map in the NODWIN Gaming African Throwdown. In Group B, day number 2. Hype stuff so far.
Yeah, definitely hype stuff so far. Back onto ATK, who have just cleaned up a fight. And sure, man, I mean, 80K is so confident in their ability. They're just holding so much of this area. I mean, look where Dust is compared to the rest of the team, and he's dealing damage from afar here to Innovated Crimson, who are trying to hold the map room. And if I'm not mistaken, it was MaFisi that was stuck in this building. So not too sure if they've taken them out or if they're about to take them out. I think they might have just taken them out. But it does seem like 80K is going to try to farm this team out. And they've just moved up too quickly for them. And 80K now in this fight on the edge of the zone. This is going to be a zone battle.
Gonna be good for so far. Look at the damage coming out from Chambi there with the massive, absolutely incinerated his opponent. And oh man, this third party is just so clutch right now. Just 3 squads left. Innovated Gaming still in a good position. HK still under pressure there. They're getting nuked down from the long range. Underrated, doing what they can do best. They have the high ground, like you pointed out earlier, Tendo. Can they clutch it out is the question now.
And they're doing well to do a lot of damage. Yeah, they're doing well to do a lot of damage on the 80K. Waiso's in a really tough situation, but he's going to be able to get that battery off. And now Underrated just needs to pray that this other team is sniffing out this fight and might be able to grief 80K, and they might just have this game in the bag. But unfortunately, Underrated isn't in the next zone, so they're gonna have to opt to rotate soon as well. And the problem is, as much as Underrated has a good position on this high ground, they're missing out on this rotation trying to keep 80K out while 80K is trying to make this rotation, and ultimately they're gonna put themselves in a bad position. So now I'm sure the call has been made that, guys, we need to make this rotate. And it's honestly the top 3 for me in terms of teams to look out in this final, fight. It's OGC, it's Underrated, as well as 80K, and it's really just a waiting game on who's going to be the first team to take the fight, who's going to get third-partied, pretty much.
Is this going to be one of the goated finales ever? Is this going to be season 5, the final episode of Breaking Bad, or is it going to be Game of Thrones season 8? We are about to find out, stream. Everything is set up here. Everything is set up. 80K do have the high ground now. Very good position. Unfortunately, 80K once again find themselves in a good position, even though they were playing so recklessly in the round. Ooh, the triple take shot just missed there. That would have done a crazy amount of damage.
Yeah, and what I'm liking from OGC is you can see they've been scrimming, and instead of trying to take the fights, they've played for that final game position. They're holding the end game, but Dust Tweaker with these triple take shots.
On.
It's just insane, honestly, how accurate he is with that gun, and it's almost as if everybody he looks at gets it. But yeah, OGC doing well here to hold this end game position, and it's good because now they get to farm 80K as they try to come in. And what ultimately going to happen is Underrated and 80K are probably going to find themselves in a bit of a fight on the edge of the zone there.
And OGC clutches out. They're getting a lot of damage on Chambi there. Now they're going to take some shots themselves, but they close the door just in time. They got the shield cell to get right back up. This finale, Tendo, it's looking hype as can be.
It's starting to settle down a little bit, as well as the teams are trying to find a position in the zone. Underrated in a very bad spot, and Cheetah has just taken way too much damage for this next rotate. He needs to get his HP back up, also he just might face a little bit of hurt here. But it just seems like they're sending it over here, Camille, and that might be just enough for them to get into this next zone. So now it's 80K that are in a bad position being on this hill. Everybody can see them, both Underrated as well as OGC. So if they all focus down onto 80K, they might just be able to get them out. But right now, it just seems like a bit of a stalemate between the teams. No one's trying to really force this fight a little bit too much, and it seems like that zone is actually pulling back to 80K. So maybe, just maybe, 80K wins this third game once again.
Oh man, in the words of Doctor Strange, we are reaching the end game now. We're just going to find out who has to take it. Is it going to be the inevitable Thanos of 80K, or are OGC and Underrated going to be able to step it up? Like you said, zone has not been favorable to the other two, but 80K are in prime position right now. Going to be a very clutch game. Underrated do have that Gibraltar to force them out of that open area. But we will have to find out how this is going to go. It's so tense right now. Everything on the line. This game is so critical for both Underrated and OGC. Who's going to get that second spot after 80K? And who's going to dethrone 80K? Who's going to make that statement, most importantly?
Yeah, and the one good thing is I don't think 80K was able to farm too many kills. What I like from Underrated is Underrated was taking fights, and speaking of fights, it seems like Fortune's got himself in a tough situation, yeah? If the full OGC roster pulls into the building, he does a lot of damage, but it's not enough. And now this is prime time for ATK to move in, watching the kill feed. This should be the calling sign for them to try and kick this fight, and that's exactly what's about to happen as ATK tries to swoop in here. Flatline shot through the window from Wiso. He's gonna try to throw a nade in there as well. It's just a warfare. It's all hell right now as the teams are just trying to jump around. ATK now just needs to coordinate this fight, but here's Wiso, hits a couple crazy massive shots, and Wiso does so much but so little at the same time without getting those knocks. And now it's just all out warfare as the teams are trying to rotate to the zone, but ATK win it just by zoning everybody out.
I feel like this is the second time at least, at maybe even the third, that Wiso with the Gibraltar bubble just puts it down. He runs in and he brings on 2 guys just by himself. So clutch. It was looking like the round where ATK was finally going to go down, but in the end, Thanos is inevitable. ATK are still the top dogs. 3 in a row, Dr. said. 3 in a row.
Yo, the snap happened. The snap happened. Like, I was watching the play and I thought, okay, these guys should just know, okay, ATK's over there. We're going to double team and go after ATK. But somebody has to figure out a plan, because ATK looked at a disadvantage and they turned the disadvantage into an advantage. And why did OGC and Underrated go after each other? I just don't get it. Like, for me, it's like, you know who the top dog is. Let's take them out and then we can sort each other out. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, let's put some parity back on this table.
From a tactical point of view, Dr.
Yes.
said, from a tactical point of view, it does make more sense to take out Underrated or OGC, them going for each other, because they're trying to secure that second place. ATK is a bit too far up, right? You would put fear in the heart of the lobby if you kill ATK and win that way, but to secure your placements, to secure your qualification to the semi-finals, that was actually the smart move.
So let's see who the MVP of this third match, the second match in Kings Canyon is, and it is Daswika once again with 5 kills. Oh, it's Chambi this time.
Right.
We get an update. Chambi with 7 kills and 1,891 damage. I'm impressed by this team, and Tendo, like, I know we've spoken a lot about strategy, about rotation, and this, this third game of the day was supposed to be the make or break for most teams. Now, it's obvious that ATK is running away with this. What do you think should happen in the final game just before we go for a break?
It's that point where if you're in the top 10, you're still, trying to play to get as many points as you can. Because ultimately, this isn't a one-day affair, all right, Dr. Sid. This is happening over a few match days, and we have a semi-finals and days of finals, right? And, towards the latter stages, when we get towards the finals, the lobbies will be a little bit more fair, because by then we would have snuffed out, our best teams in the African continent. But right now, in these group stages, if you're like one of those teams that have just been bottling it, having a terrible day, land on ATK, take the fight, that's what we love to see. Take the fight, land on them, get them out of the game. It just might open up a world for you, in terms of rotations and etc. etc. If you're someone like Fractus, OGC, these top performing teams that are doing well, but they're still getting outshined by ATK, still play your game, play it slow, try get those kill points, because at the end of the day, you need to look at the bigger picture. And although ATK is stomping today and, DNMK stomped last week, that doesn't mean they're going to be stomping in the finals.
Wow. I know for a fact that when we look at the standings, I know later on at the end of the day, we're going to look at the updated overall standings just before we leave. But it's good to point out that in the top 40 teams in the overall standings will qualify to the next round. So, everybody needs to be fighting for as many points as possible. And looking at this game the way it is, my strategy would definitely be to play for position and just avoid everybody, because you're not getting those kills and you need to get position at least to get those points to move up the leaderboard. So we're going to go take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with the final game of the day, which is going back to the Olympus map. It is Dr. Sid Camille and Thendo, and we are watching the Apex Legends African Throwdown brought to you by NODWIN Gaming. See you guys in a bit. Hi, we are back. This is the Apex Legends African Throwdown. And I'm super excited. You can't tell by my face. But it has been a very, very interesting matchup today. We have had three amazing I'm bored right now. We've had three amazing maps. The energy is super. Ladies and gentlemen, ATK showing a masterclass on what African esports is all about. So I'm glad that the world is watching right now because we need the world to know that African esports is here to stay and went to the world stage. Camille and Tendo have been here with me as we have watched ATK show people how it's done. You understand me now? It's like people are getting to understand that the gameplay is not just by just shooting. You have to have strategy. You have to have position. You have to know what you are doing when you are doing what you are doing. So before we talk too much, let's just get into the updated standing. That is the count of the points and seeing who's on top with the standings.
Dr. Sid, I know you said the game just ain't about the shooting and the killing and all those things, but damn, ADK really do be really good at that as well. They've been dominating all these fights. They've been playing ultra aggressive, but it hasn't just been them in these last couple of games. OGC have been playing their zones very well. They've been rotating very well. They've been looting very well, and they've been getting a lot of kills in this third map. They really jumped up their kill tally. Underrated ZA have been playing monstrously aggressive in their own right in this lobby so far, and I do believe the top three in our standings are representative of the top three in this lobby so far. These three teams have played the best Apex Legends I've seen in the lobby so far.
I want to just mention something. See, in Nigeria, we have a slang, we have a word, it's called kantab. Kantab basically means that when the leader's score has doubled the second person's score. So ATK has kantab OGC. OGC. This is just, it's not fair. And we also call it chancing. That's when they say they have chanced you out of the situation. You know, so I mean, Tendo, in this next game, who needs to do what to get where?
So, look, we're not taking ATK off first position, so don't worry about that for now, right? But jokes aside, look, I was talking earlier about, the game plan is to maybe land on ATK, and I think it still kind of is for a lot of teams. Like, don't land on ATK, but you've had 3 games with them. You kind of know where they'll take fights and what rotations they're gonna take.
Just leave them alone, Abby.
Yeah, like let's try get them out. And let's play with the rest of us and let's see what we can do. That's probably not going to happen. But yeah.
I like this kind of party. This kind of party means that when you know that the best dancer is coming to the party, you play the wrong song or you just dance and tell everybody, let's leave him alone first to dance by himself so he looks kind of stupid. I mean, ATK is throwing it down, but there's something I wanted to point out in the last game. Somebody actually dropped an ATK player and they still managed to come back. Now, Tendo, we're going back to Olympus, and you were talking in the first game on Olympus about teams landing on the north side and maybe teams should land on the south side of the map. Like, so what strategy would you advise people to have going back to Olympus this time?
The great thing about Apex is regardless of, how far off you are, your drop spot, most times you can often make it. And you'll see in professional games that teams have set drop locations like, hey guys, we dominate this area. This is our area, regardless of what drop path. So what I urge is for everybody to just relax a little bit, wait, see where everybody's going, and then make a decision. If you see nobody's going to Garden, let's land Garden, If you see nobody's going to Orbital Canyon, hey, let's stretch that out. Let's get some good loot. Let's, play it slow. And, it's going to be somewhat the lobby trying to force a slow game. I think the lobby needs to almost have this realization that there's this entity that's speeding up the lobby too fast for everybody. Let's all try slow it down, and I'd love to see that from other teams.
Play slow music when the DJ is playing techno. Camille, if apart from ATK, who do you think can take this last match?
Listen, I know Tendo did say, tactically speaking, it's the last game, play it slow, play in your comfort zone. I think it's going to be the opposite. I feel like people are going to be panicking. They're going to be like, okay, there's only one game left. ATK has dominated the lobby. Let's just go in and have some fun. This is what we saw on game number 2 on Olympus, because this map is just so insanely aggressive. I think we will be seeing something similar. I do hope teams just play fearlessly, right? Okay, placements and all those things are very important. If you from place 2 to place 6 or so, play smart, play tactically, do what you need to do to get those points to be able to get those high placements. But if you're a team that's been struggling so far in these last 3 games, I want you to see you guys back up. Just go in, have fun, and wreck noobs, right? There's nothing left to lose at this point.
You don't have anything to lose. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my second favorite part of this entire show tonight. It's the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming. And it's time for the final game of the day on Olympus. This is my time to step out and go and watch like a spectator while Tendo plays and Camille cast and tell you the blow-by-blow account of what is happening in this amazing throwdown. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out, and I will see you later after this final match.
Let's go heading into the final game of the evening. ATK Arena, the top dogs of the event, the top dogs in South African esports have dominated thus far, Tendo. But there's a lot of teams left in the lobby, a lot of points left to prove, and a lot of points to be earned to cement your place in the standings. What are you expecting on this final map, sir?
You know, I'm expecting ATK to do exactly the same as what they did before. We see them in Oasis. They're probably going to look to rotate towards the north side of the map and see what they can pick up, or unless they hear some shots. And it's a little bit unfortunate. I mean, look at that. They find a longbow, and we definitely saw what the longbow in the hands of ATK can do in the last game. And they find the Spitfire, both in gold. And, you know, they just get the luck of the draw here to win out this last game, honestly speaking, with that kind of lead. But you know what? Let's not bank the other teams out just yet. Things are slowing down a little bit. And Camille, I wanted to bring this up. It's a bit of a kill. It's like a bit of a kill race here between DNMK and ATK. Who's going to have the most points by the end of each of their group stage games, right? But so far, I think DNMK is leading the race just a tiny little bit. But I mean, look, there's a full lobby, and ATK is still in it.
I say we move this way.
So I believe DNMK hit 80 kills, right, in the last in their 4 games that they played.
Yes.
And ATK are sitting on 55 now, so they have to get 25 kills to even that score. And so it's very tough task to do, but they might be able to do it. Let's see if they're thinking the same thing in your head. They want to prove that they're the biggest fish in the sea. I know you're a homer for DMNK, so let's see how it goes. I'm hyped for this game. I want to see how OGC and Underrated play, because I feel like the last lobby, the 3rd game, was very competitive. I think it was the best game of the matches we've seen so far, where they pushed ATK. They really did. They played their own games very well. Underrated again played very aggressive, and OGC been rotating their zones, been moving around the map, controlling their position so well throughout these last couple of games, and I hope to see something of similar caliber for them through this final map. I think we're going to see a competitive game again, or, you know, it just could be Olympus usual nonsense where it's just fighting. I don't know. I'm hoping for the latter, but we'll see how it goes.
And Nai just showing some crazy R3 one-shots there, managing to crack the armor of one of the player. But Lag is playing from a low-down position, and I'm pretty sure that's OGC Esports up at the top. So they really need to be careful, because we know OGC has the ability to clutch this fight up, and OGC should look to clean this up as fast as they can. Luckily for them, there is nobody near them, if I'm not mistaken, just by judging on what we've seen so far. So they're able to take this fight comfortably. They just need to coordinate each other well. And, you know, I wanted to point out, you could really see that OGC is a scrim team, right? They're sitting 2nd place. They have been doing pretty good with their kills, and they've been getting good placement. They play as if it's not all about winning, because at the end of the day, yes, it's about winning in Apex Legends, but just like any battle royale, it's about consistency.
That's a very good point, and they've been very consistent so far. They have picked up the horizon for this 4th and final map, something we wanted to see, and something you said is built for Olympus as well. So I'm really happy to see that Legend give that extra added mobility, vertical mobility, go up high in the sky. We see 4 teams already eliminated, maybe 4 teams, maybe not all the teams joined the lobby. I wasn't paying attention right at the very start, so I can't say. A very slow start so far for usual Olympus standards.
Pretty slow start just until Neo dives down in onto the Gibraltar there and manages to take him out. And he's going to be down for the count. Neo doing good here, opening it up. But they've been a trade on both sides here. Neo's going to have to try slide back in. As we tune back into Royal Esports, who are on almost the opposite side of this fight, down in Rift, who are also trying to get out of a situation. And it does seem like OGC was able to clutch up that fight just a little bit. I'm a little bit wrong here.
Oh, nice! The thorn in their side. One player left. Can he do it? Can he clutch it out? Can he get any saves? Can he get any heals? He's going to pop the shield up. He's got an Eva auto. He's going to throw out the grenade. He gets detected by the sonar. He's going to try his best here. This would be an insane clutch if he does it. He gets a think of damage, but not enough. Going to drop down. Interesting stuff for now. Look like he's going to try to run away for the moment, but there's a lot of teams in the area. He might get caught straggling away.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate for OGC. It seemed as if everything was in their favor just until the tables turned, and it's now all up to the Wraith player to clutch up the situation. Both teammates are still up, so they haven't thirsted yet on the opposite side of lag. So I'm sure
I feel like OGC did down two of the enemies there as well, right? So it should be a 1v1 at this point.
Well, luckily they're going to be able to get the portal here and pull the players into the building. This might be a big res here for OGC, as the teammates are going to push up in, and it doesn't seem like that res is going to pop off. He does get the banner at least if he has to get out of this situation. He's going to hold the stairs with the vault. Does a lot of damage, and he's waiting for this player to keep poking and prodding. And it seems like he's going for a thirst on one of the other players to get an armor swap, and now's the time to make a play. You're gonna have to either dive in there or back off. He needs to make a play, and it just doesn't seem like Denzin is trying to do it right now. He's just trying to hold this angle and shoot down the staircase. He needs to aggress this fight a little bit, you know what I mean?
YOLO
I think
swag!
It's a 1v1. Yeah, YOLO
He's
swag.
playing
you know?
Wraith. This is what the hero is made for. Fuck up, boy. You ready for it? Take that deep dive in. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. I believe, Tendo. I believe. He finds him there on the left. His strategy is working. He's getting consistent damage out here. Now he's gonna finally jump in. Can he clutch out this 1v1? It looks like it for the moment, but no! His shot's kind of missed, but the Eva auto shot. In the end, the shotgun came in clutch. Oh, faithful.
It was a very, very close one for our second place team, OGC. But they came up on top, and well done to Denzin for being able to clutch that one out. Look, reset jump in there. It wasn't exactly the play. He held his ground. He was able to do a little bit of damage to the shield before he dropped down in, and that's when he made the opportunity. And it's good for OGC. They've, got a couple of kill points. They're getting their placement points, and they're just slowing things down. We see Daddy Cool Cinder in the kill feed, so they're getting a little bit of kills, and it's good to see Revert Caustic take their front foot in some of these fights. So well done to OGC. We'll see what they can do for the rest of this game.
Oh my god, he just chopped out more medicine than a hospital there. My word. Medkits for days, boys. Medkits for days. But like you said, Reverse Caustic kind of showing up again here in the final game. Cinder getting 2 kills there. It's good to see because they started out the first map really well, but kind of, fell off in the last 2 games. But maybe this is their time to shine, getting their place back into the top 5. If they can manage to do so, it would be very impressive for the streaming world at large.
Yeah, definitely would be impressive for content creators, especially up against 80k if they're able to clutch this out. But you can see that the lack of north side teams has equaled, less fights for 80k to take up, and you can just see them rotating through this top side, just fishing and looking for anybody they can fight. As we tune into Underrated, who are in a bit of a fight here by the phase runner. They're a little bit split off. Cheetah Boys on the opposite building, Bradley and Fortune on the other side, but they're gonna regroup here, and it looks like they're gonna go for a very, very long rotation. And if we remember quite well, OGC should be towards that area, so let's hope Underrated and OGC don't bump into each other, and it looks like that just might be the case, and we might be seeing a zone battle here between OGC and Underrated, our second and third place teams.
The rematch from the 3rd game, the final fight is this time it's a much earlier situation and a much rougher one in the zone, like you said, Tendo. Let's see how this plans out. They got the heat shield. Oh no, this is not a heat shield, my bad. This is a drop ship. I don't know if they have any heat shield, but we'll see how this goes. This could be a good fight. They're still pretty healthy, and this is only the first zone, so not too much damage for the moment. They're pretty comfortable here, but now 80k finally going to rotate out. Are they on the hunt again? It looks like they are. We're going to finally see the top dogs come out and play. Decent amount of damage there, but not insane amounts. Can they chase him down? Looks like the enemy is going to be able to run away this time around, but Chambi on the run. They're going to chase down as per usual. Underrated.
And it looks like that fight. It looks like that fight that I spoke about is happening, and Underrated have snuffed out OGC, and it looks like 2 of the members have already gone down. So it's all up to Denzen again to try to clutch this one out for OGC, and it's not looking good here as Underrated is just gonna dog him down. But Underrated needs to be careful because they're traveling towards Rift, and you know who we lost towards that area? Yes, that's indeed ATK. So they gotta be really careful not to over push this fight and get themselves into a tough position. And I think they're just gonna opt to get what loot they got and maybe play towards the zone.
100% gonna find some stuff here. Hopefully for them they don't run into ATK, because that should be another free lobby for them if they find the 3rd place players with the 2nd place team already eliminated. They are sure favorites to win this 4th and final game. Once again, they're gonna find one and they're gonna almost drop them. Wiso got a lot of damage out, but just not enough to get the kill there, or the down at least. But Chambi looking to clean up where his teammate left off. Caustic Gas gonna be there, so they're gonna kind of be forced out for the moment. Das is still playing the Bloodhound, so he can't just pop the ulti and see through that with his digital scope. But they're gonna be going from the other side. It's all good. MaFisi gonna try be the one taking this fight. Let's see if they can do it. Can they clutch out against the top dogs here, Tendo?
Honestly, the problem here is they keep running away, you know. And one thing is, when you start playing high competitive, you know, Apex Legends, there are times to run and there are times not to run. I think in this position, they need to hold their ground. Yes, they're gonna get a little bit of high ground, just weaker, honestly.
The
With the snipers has just been absolutely insane today to just watch and witness, and that's unfortunate that the lifeline player goes down. So now this full res is gonna have to pop out over here, and hopefully Aroma's gonna be able to bring the lifeline player back up, and ATK is just gonna hold their ground here. And this is one of those areas, Camille, where team gets sucked into. Hammond Labs, you can see. So a bunch of teams getting sucked into this spot because the sound has traveled. We're fighting here, everybody. Hey, come check. And this is it. This is the opportunity. This is what we need to see for potentially ATK to go down towards this early stage of this game. Getting overwhelmed by lots of teams, and that's exactly what's happening. As Shang gets jumping into the building.
Put out a jump pad there for him and his team, but he might get punished. They're gonna try come help. There's 2 holding the building now. And like you said, they're smelling blood. This area is the hotspot right now. Underrated ZA, they've recovered. They're pressuring ATK. Are any other teams looking at third party as well, though, is the question. It's going to be a straight one-on-one fight. ATK under a lot of pressure here. In terms of health game, they are losing right now. Suika popping the shield battery, so he'll be back up and healthy again. Gonna jump down for the moment. Let's see how Underrated going to be willing to pressure here.
Yeah, so they opt to drop down and give up that high ground, which isn't always a bad play considering, you know, they were pretty much the focus of everybody in the area. And they've swapped positions now with Underrated, but luckily Underrated is that team coming from behind, so they don't need to worry about their backs as much. But there is a team that is going to be holding them out from this next zone. So ideally Underrated needs to either play for a Nokia, because their alternate rotations are a little bit scuffed. But it actually looks like they might opt to go into the zone here by the looks of things. The team is like, you know what, guys, let's just play for the win. And it might not be a bad idea. As you can see, there's still quite a few teams in this area trying to make a rotation.
Don't want a tunnel vision in on taking that fight against ATK. They've seen how that's worked out for teams in the past. They would, if they get a high placement here, secure the second place over OGC, I believe, depending on where they place. Don't remember the points exactly, but it is a decent strategy for now. Innovation Crimson, they only have 2 players left. So does Fractus Gaming. So it's a very open lobby for a lot of teams. I believe Revert Caustics are still very healthy right now. They look, I haven't seen any of them drop, and I've seen a lot of kills on their feed, so they should be sitting pretty as well.
Yeah, Revert Caustic is doing well, I think, this game. They're probably trying to play, you know, that early kill point game, get the kills off the beginning, and then just play for a power position in the next zone. And we've just seen a display of snipers today, hasn't it, Camille? Just like everybody seems to just be rocking snipers, and that's one of the worries that a lot of, you know, players in the Apex community feared when we went back to ranked on Olympus, is that it's a very sniper heavy map since it's so open and you know, like, you know, spread it open, you know. So snipers really reign dominant in the area. And you can clearly see that, especially ATK using it towards their advantage to gain as much ground as they can.
69 Gaming getting hunted down here by looks to be ATK. Surge gonna try do something, gonna get disoriented there. Gonna try cut out the spike here. Can he do it? The shield not gonna be too much for him to deal with, and he's gonna drop. DDC doing very well this game, gonna make it into top 10. But ATK, they're on the hunt. They want a third party here. They're looking for some peeps. Are they gonna find them though? Is the question, Tendo.
Yeah, ATK on the hunt as usual, looking for what they can get, but they're going towards the zone here, and they're in a pretty good position coming into the zone on the edge. They'll be able to see a lot of the teams in front of them and just, you know, scout out their next move. And there's somebody coming in on the rotation here, and he's absolutely gonna laser from above, and that's Daddy Cool going down, unfortunately. And that's Revert Caustic here, who were another heavy hitter in the lobby that could have done well, but now it's ATK versus Revert Caustic. The dome goes out. It's Cinder Live with the wingman. Caramel Gamer on 1 HP. He's gonna go down. So now it's a 1v3 clutch. Cinder Live versus the entire ATK roster. And it looks like Chambi's probably gonna go down there and try to get him out of this one.
There was another team in the area. Let's see if they can get punished here. But ATK just decimated that fight as per usual. Taking these one-on-one engagements with them don't usually end well for teams. Now there's just 7 teams left. Make that 6 as I say that. The Streaker with the sniper once again, just holding these areas so damn well. Nobody can play in the open ground at all, but he's going to take a lot of damage in his own right there. Going to be forced to pop the shield start. Doesn't have a battery available, it seems. Going to have to do it the old school way, popping 4 of those. Chambi still putting out a decent amount of damage. Consistent damage here with the flatline, as we've seen him do all game.
Yeah, Flatline is, you know, another versatile AR. Oh my goodness, was that a 105 headshot coming in from Dasrika, managing to knock down JJ or Fractus Gaming? And they're just doing well to hold their ground, pretty much. They're controlling the middle of the map, and they're spreading, you know, their damage across the map to just hold as much ground as they can. So ADK is doing that very well. And back onto the Flatline. The Flatline is just one of those guns where it's just been versatile since the beginning. As he manages to get that finish, just needs to be careful not to get knocked here, because that might spell trouble for ATK if that happens. But I think they're fine from the position they're playing from.
Yeah, the Streaker was in a weird place himself, but his teammates were there, and you know how they can protect. We've seen it so many times, especially this man right here, the underrated king. He didn't get an MVP so far, Mr. YSO, but he's played like a beast on the Gibraltar every single time, man. Clutched out so many of the endgame situations. And right now, we're sort of approaching that endgame ring, starting to close here. Getting into that 4th round. Who is going to be able to push ATK is the question. Reverse Caustic already taken out. Underrated are still in it though. Or am I wrong? They are still there, right?
Yeah, the full roster of Underrated was up. They're actually rotating out from the bottom of Hammond Labs, so they're gonna be in the side of ATK very, very soon, and that's exactly probably what's happening right here. As Fortune takes a lot of damage and is gonna have to dip down to pop this bat. The zone is encroaching on them, and they need to make their way in. And the shots are coming in huge, and I'm actually mistaken. It's actually Innovated Crimson that's over there. And they're just going to try to clean this up as quickly as they can. And that's exactly what they do here. Bradley and the team doing well to finish them off. They just got to be careful because there's ATK right in front of them. And I haven't seen any other team that are really contesting, you know, that position that ATK is controlling right yet. And that just might be a little bit shaky for the team of Underrated as they try to move in.
Oh, look at the damage.
Flatline shots.
Now we'll see what they can do. This is a very tense situation right now. It looks like Chambi should get it down. He gets armor crack at least, but his armor is almost cracked in his own right. But he will be able to shield up here very comfortably in this household. Gonna be a tense engagement right here.
Very, very tense engagement as the bombardments come flying down from the sky. And there's 5 squads left, and it's kind of interesting. I know that Fractus has GZ, who's alive ratting. The full roster of Underrated is up, but a little bit curious to see. Oh yeah, as well as DDC, they have full rosters up as well. So we've got a couple of squads here. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 rats that are there, and they're just gonna stuff this rat out. And there's not much you can really do in that situation when a full team starts to shoot you. And yeah, gonna get that rat right out, and that's a massa to go down. And now it's Underrated. Yeah, it's Underrated, DDC, and ATK who are the lostful teams, but the beams from Cheetah Boy and the R301 managing to get that knock.
Oh man, so effective from them. But DDC also, like you said, were a full HP team, very well stocked team in a good position. They were they were the team that were putting on 80k under so much pressure, forcing them to move out of the absolute comfort zone. Obviously, they'll probably find another comfortable location. So we will have a 3-team affair once again. Just 9 players left. Oh, but DDC actually dropped one. Uh-oh. Did I die to Underrated there?
Yeah, it's unfortunate as GZ goes down. And now this is just going to be a fight between, 80k doing so much damage with that sniper. It's just been so good for them, and 80k is just smelling blood. They're diving in. The massive shots are going to come flying from Waiso, but Waiso ends up going down, and now Champion's going to have to try to come in and clutch it up. And it's just too easy for 80k tonight, They take every single game. They just know what's happening. And that's just, a masterclass, as Dr. Sid would say.
Absolutely. That's the story of the evening, right? 80k dominance. 4 games in a row, all in emphatic fashion. This last one, it could have been a tense situation. It really could have, Dr. Sid. But at the end of the day, they were like, nah, nobody has a chance in this lobby. They cleaned them all up.
This is like when you are in your mother tells you that when they give you food, we don't waste food in Africa. You eat your food and you clear the plates. 80k is not playing around. They're like, listen, they gave me food, I'm gonna eat it and make sure the plate is nice and clean. I'm just like, this is like they're hungry. They've
what?
just been devouring everyone.
Doctor said not a lie was told by you on this day.
like I'm just like, they don't die, they don't rest, they just keep eating everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, game number 4 on Olympus, 80k champions like we predicted, but we hope somebody would have stepped to the plate. The question I want to see now is 2 things I'm interested in. Who's the MVP? Das Wicca baby, Chambi. Who's the MVP?
I think it's gonna be Dust.
You think it's gonna be Dust? Those longbow shots. Yeah, and it is. You are honestly right. Das with 7 kills. I think he's been steady on 7 kills.
Yeah, he's been really consistent today for 80k. I think
very consistent. Yeah,
he's done a lot of damage.
There was something you mentioned. Earlier on, just as they started and they landed, they were literally, somebody spotted a gold longbow over. That's for Das, so they just pointed out, he'll pick it up. We already know what we're going to do. That level of communication is one of the things why this team is where they are today. There's literally no crumbs on the table for anyone. I'm looking forward to a 80k DNMK matchup. One of the things like for Tendo, I'm next. Let me ask Camille. Camille, for you, what was your highlight in this last match?
In this last match, I feel like, again, Underrated. They've played consistently, right? They've went for the kills. Okay, in the first map, it didn't work out for them. They just got wrecked by 80k. But again, they on the 4th map, they weren't wasting time. They went for the kills. They played their aggressive style. Of course, in the end, it didn't pan out because they fighting other teams and 80k. It feels like the strategy we started to prescribe to other teams was third-party 80k and everybody else. They always third-partying everybody else. I feel like there was that moment where Tendo pointed out where Underrated had them on the ropes. They could have chased them down, but instead they tried to play zone, tried to play that end game a bit better. That didn't work out for them in the end. So the highlight of the of the 4th map here is the same as every other map. 80k wrecking kids. That's it.
Tendo, now who's your biggest disappointment of all 4 games today? Who let you down the most?
You know what? I think I'm gonna have to go and shoot at Revert Caustic. I, expected a little bit better from them. They didn't do too badly, but I just think, lack of experience and, just some of the rotations they were in, they got caught out a little bit. And, let's hope they bounce back towards, the other stages. And I'm sure they'll, after a while, get a little bit more team synergy and work together. But honestly, it's even hard to say some of the teams because they just got, eliminated so quickly. I couldn't even get a chance to see some of the other teams. But in terms of my teams to look out, I think I was mostly disappointed by Revert Caustic. Kind of disappointed that OGC went out a little bit early there, but I mean, it was OGC versus Underrated. What can you do? You know, one has to win.
And you know, I'm sure you guys would agree that this just shows that in competitive gaming, you know, as contrary to what a lot of people think that it's just holding a controller or a mouse and a keyboard, there's actually a lot of strategy that goes into these. Like these teams have to practice and play together just as hard as any professional sports team. And I think it's very important to point that out as we take a quick look at the standings for today in Group B. And wow, it's a story in itself, Camille.
It is indeed. Obviously, ATK Arena, don't want to overhype the point. They were the best team. They were the top dogs. They won. But again, the 2 and 3 spot were very competitive. Underrated ZA versus OGC ZA. We saw in the third map, they fought at the end. One team came out victorious, OGC. In the fourth map, we saw Underrated come out ahead of them. So I feel like there's like a statements being made all around in the statements. ATK, best team by far. The second and third best team are in a level of their own. They're like tier 2 just below them. And then from 4, 5, 6, and 7, I feel like those teams are all very competitive. Each of them could have maybe made a shot to the podium, but there's still work to be done. I don't think they're as good as the second, third place teams just
now.
Yet.
Just before
the semis. Sorry, go for it, Dr. Sid. Go for it.
Now, I was going to say, just before we took a look at the overall standings, I know that the graphics is going to switch. I want to ask Tendo, in the teams from like maybe 4th to 10th, where do you think they're going to land? Where do you think Revert Crimson is going to land in the overall standings? Just off the top of your head. Revert Caustic, sorry, my bad. Where do you think they're going to land in the overall standing just before we take a look at it?
Look, I will say today's lobby was a little bit more, distributed in terms of we had a little bit of top heavy competition. I think Underrated, OGC, Innovated, Crimson, Fractus, Revert, they gave a little bit of a showing. They've definitely got the kills to back it. They were getting kills, and if you look at Group A, it was a little bit more DNMK heavy. They pretty much just sucked up everybody in the lobby, so it left a lot of kill points spread thin for the rest of the team. So I think the Group B will probably place a lot higher than Group A's teams, just probably sitting hopefully in that top 10 echelon to see some of these teams. But yeah, man, let's
take a look
at how it looks.
Oh, wow. All right, so looking at this right now, I can see definitely Revert Caustic jumps out of the top 10, but they're still in the range of that top 40 position with one more group left to go. Thendo, what's your analysis of the standings, the overall standings post day 2?
I mean, I'm looking at the standings, and look, it makes sense for me where the teams are right now. DNMK, ATK dominating the lobbies completely, just makes sense. Peaky blind peekers were really good in DNMK's lobby. They were pretty much their competition, so good to see them still up there in that top 3 position. Underrated, I think they're fitting perfectly in terms of where everybody's standing. OGC as well fits perfectly considering, their scrim team, they've been scrimming and practicing. So you'd want to see them in a top 5 position. Fractus, not too bad from today. Innovated, I did say we'll probably see them in the top 10 in Invading Crimson, by the way. And yeah, that's what's happening. And, there's still room to work with. I mean, we still have how many more groups to go through?
We have one more group to go.
Just a little group. Yeah, one more group. And that one more group will just, shake up the entire lobby. Considering we don't have massive heavy hitters in that group. Although Elite Gaming RSA is a competitive team in their own regard. They also compete in LGS. Is it going to be an Elite Gaming RSA run show? I'm not too sure.
That make up
predict that right now and put that in the world.
Looking
but
at
I
teams
think
that make
we'll have
up
a bit of a fair showing in that final group. I think.
Hello, are we there?
DNMK and ATK.
That's fair.
Looking at the teams that
building
make
up to the semifinals, if we're looking at the standings already, like you have 5 really good teams, the top 5. Obviously, DMNK, ATK are cut above the rest, and there's like 10 good 10 good teams going through on the roundabout. So once the time we get to those semifinals and finals lobbies, the matches are going to be so damn competitive. It's going to be such a fight to be able to just place, not even top placing, but like your top 10s, because every team you're fighting against is going to be a top tier team. But like you say, we still have one more group to go, and I'm really interested to see how that group goes. Like Tendo said, without ATK and DMNK, they just absolutely decimate the lobbies. But Elite Gaming, pretty hyped themselves, but we have to see how it goes in practice. Theory is one thing, but practice is a whole different situation.
Yeah, 100% true. You just got to show up on the day and make it happen, honestly speaking. And yeah, I think today, for me, my player of the day, I think just has to be Dust Weaker. What do you think, Camille? I think Dust, the long-range capability on that man is absolutely insane. I mean, he probably doesn't miss a Kraber shot then, right? I think he probably never misses one.
Absolutely never. I feel like the way you use these snipers, I think the most highlight moment for me, I think throughout the 4 maps we saw today was when you had the long bow and he had those 3 guys behind the rock and each of them headshot, headshot, headshot. He just didn't miss for an entire clip. Sensational stuff. Why so friendly on the Gibraltar? The way he kept his team undercover, the way he was fighting in the clutch moments, especially the end game, so good. And Chambi, just an overall beast. You know, he is the picture. I like he's like the poster picture for those aggressive attacking players. You're in Apex Legends, top tier stuff, honestly.
Yeah, definitely top tier stuff coming from ATK. And you know what? I'm excited to, see some more Apex Legends African Throwdown. And we just hope that we get more competitiveness from everybody. But yeah, Camille, I mean, that's been us for today.
100%. We're going to say a thank you from NODWIN Gaming Africa. Thank you to Dr. Said, who has a power outage. That's why he's not here to send you guys a goodbye. And thank you all for tuning into the stream. It's been an absolute pleasure. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, 7 o'clock, same time, for more Apex Legends Africa Throwdown action. Thank you all for listening in tonight, and goodbye.